Right. And we are live. Hello, good evening, and welcome to the R&R Ranch. A half hour early, getting things set up. That's what I do. All right, we're going to have David Williams with us and Steve Froming. So I've got to make a couple screens. And I don't know, thought maybe you might want to see how that all works. So I'll show you what I'm doing. We've got one person out there. I don't know if we'll have any more. All right. So I just have a screen for, I just made a screen for 3 over here. You'll see over here. I've got PowerPoint open. So I made, I got my little groups. That's a 3, and this is 2. So what I do is I copy this, do a Control C, and this is for when you have 2 people. I open my, I think this is Paint Shop Pro 2020. I go to Create New from Clipboard. I do a Control V to paste the image. And then what I do is I cut out. You do that, you'll select just what's in that white area and you hit the delete button, and you're not going to see anything until you do the same thing there. You hit delete, and then what that does is when you take the background away, which is a white background, it's transparent. You do a file, export as a PNG, so that exports it as a PNG file. And then you give it a title. I'm in the Western section folder. I do an at, and we'll call it 2 players. All right, so I've just created just a black background, which will be in these 2 areas right here. In those 2 areas, you will be able to see through them. So I'll put my images of whomever I have, my guest 1 and guest 2, or me and guest 1, and me and guest 2. And then for the 3, I'll have me, guest 1, and guest 2. And I have a 4 and a 5 already made, but I didn't have anything for a 2 and a 3. So we're done with that. So we say File, Close. And I never save those. Don't have to. They're in my PowerPoint. Copy, paste. All right. So now what I do is I come into... I'm going to try to see. I'm going to really blow your mind now, because this is my my software. So this is me. So this is the software that I use for broadcasting. So this gives you a little bit of behind the scenes, right? So this is my scenes for broadcasting, and you've probably seen me put some of these together. This is my guest 1, which is basically looking at my monitor 1 in an area of my monitor 1, guest 1 and guest 2. But for example, if I go to this is my code panel. This is code panel member. That's a code panel member. This is a code panel member. So I'll just expand this for you. I'm not showing, so I got to show 1. So wow, see it? Whoa! So this is the screen. So these are all my different screens that I have put together. I wish I could show, I guess I can't, but I'm going to create a screen. So I'm showing screen 1. If I do this, and I create a screen 6, you're seeing something that is black, just a black screen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this, I'm going to rename scene six to Tom and 2 guests. And what I'm going to do, I am going to put in my image, which is, I'm going to call it background 3 people, 3 holes, 3 people. And I'm going to select that image, and you'll see this pop up here shortly, so bear with me. Western section. Got 3 people. I'm waiting in WebEx. Oh, sorry about that. Hold on. Let me get WebEx going. Hold on. I got to get WebEx going. What time is it? There it is. All right. WebEx is going. So there's the 3. Put my 3 people up there. Let me do this. Got to get WebEx going, so bear with me. I got Steve Froming starting WebEx, and I've got David Williams saying, "What's going on?" Whoa, that was loud. All right. It's open. It's live. You in? I hope I clicked on the right link. Western section R&R, September 24th, 6 to 8. I am in. I'm going to share my screen. All right, so David, Steve Froming. Steve is joining the meeting. All right. Wow, that's so loud. Mr. Froming. Oh, now I can hear you. I was just creating some screens for us. I'm waiting for David. Here he comes.
That's what I like to see.
Hey, welcome.
You made that 17 minutes go away quick.
Yeah, I did, didn't I?
I don't know how you did it, but you did.
Screen for us.
I am, it's called Magic.
I'm liking it.
Yeah, all right. Somebody's playing YouTube in the background. Turn that off. I feel like Rush Limbaugh. Turn your radio down, ma'am.
Turn your radio down.
All right. Where is it at? I can still hear it.
Yeah, why is that?
How do I? Turn your radio down, ma'am. Oh, here we go. There we go. That's what. Oh man, I wish I could.
You hear me?
Oh, I can hear you now. Yep. How do they say that? I can hear you. Oh, and I can see David Williams. So I'm trying to get some.
About that.
All right, so I'm gonna do just one.
Hang on.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to get. Guest 1 is going to be David Williams tonight, ladies and germs.
I'm coming.
There he is.
I had to close my windows.
Uh-oh. Yeah, we wouldn't want your neighbors to be peeking in and learning something tonight.
Yep.
Okay, look at this. Okay, so I'm going to make you larger.
No, you don't need to make me larger. Because I do have a PowerPoint.
Oh, do you?
Can I share?
You can probably share. Yeah.
And I got it ready to email it if worse comes to worse.
Okay. Yep.
But I thought I'd warn you ahead of time.
Oh yeah. Thanks for the warning. Guest 1, and then I gotta make guest 2. So let's do this.
And I think it's a wide PowerPoint.
It doesn't matter when you're sharing. I can't. I have no control. So I'll just show the screen, and what they see, they see.
There you go.
And what they don't, they don't.
Well,
That's right. And that is completely fine. Alrighty then, your number still 911. So Bill Brooks was a good program today. I enjoyed that.
yes. We're not live yet, are we?
Oh yeah, we're live.
Okay, that's right, we are.
Yep. Watch what you say and say what you watch.
Exactly.
I don't know why. What I'm going to do, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this completely out. For some reason, sometimes it's like, whoops. I don't know what that is. What? Oh, that's Paul Dabrowski. I got to take that out of there. And then that's display 1. So let me maximize this. So, no.
I see Paul had signed up.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
I mean, not for R&R, but for the program.
Yeah. So he
I heard from him though.
no, I think he's probably going to watch them later.
He's playing. Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, because I think he said he had something going on or something like that. I don't know. How do I transform and then I do fit to screen? Here we go. I'm doing the man here. There. Oh, that's how it's fit to screen. There we go. Once I do a fit to screen, it maintains the ratio. All right.
Okay.
So there is guest 1. Here is guest 2. And here is guest 4.
Four.
And, yeah, I'm guest 4 because guest 3 is like out there somewhere.
Invisible person.
Invisible person. See, now we have this one, which is we're in the middle. I've just unmuted you, Steve.
Do you want me to put sign in on that other one for more pictures?
So it's up to you. You're gonna screw. All right. So see my my slide deck here gets a little finicky. I gotta shut. I'm done with that. I am done with this. I am going to keep open the email thing. So if somebody wants to call in and ask a question, we're going to permit it.
Permit it.
Yes, we are going to permit it. Permit it. Now you screwed up everything. I'm going to have to hurt you.
Oh, me? Sorry.
No, not you. So I
Got
got.
a computer.
Probably me.
Yeah, that was just you. That's okay. We have ways of forgiving people.
Or
Yeah. Guest 1. Look at that. See, there's guest 1. Guest 2.
I'm trying to find my camera view thingy here. Oh, here it is.
Okay, there is guest 2. And then guest 3. That's the okay, yeah, that is guest 3, but I just have to do this,
There we go.
this, and that, and that. Okay, look at this. David, I'm telling you what.
what?
This is you just can't. I mean, this is when technology works. It's just amazing.
Yes.
So, yes. So guest 1, guest 2, Guest 3. Oh, that's not the good. Where's my guest 3? I gotta move you down like that. There we go. And then guest 4. Hello. All right. All right. So, and then I should be able to do I should be able to do the code panel with 4 of us. Look at that. And I'll move this over here. And I'll see if I can't get the R&R. Well, I don't need the R&R. Well, we'll look at a picture of a tree. And we got Tim McClintock. So I'll make this. So what I'll do is I will make guest number 3. I'm going to call it Mobile 1.
Mobile 1.
Mobile 1 Kenobi. There we go. So we got Mobile 1, Steve Froming, David Williams, Tomasa Domitrovich. Okay, we got seven people in the R&R Ranch right now. Okay, let me go to that one while we're waiting. Guest 3. Who is that? Oh, I know who that is.
I thought that was be a good picture for today.
There you go.
That's when Sue and I stopped at their house on the way back from the cold making panel meetings.
Awesome.
On our way back from Hilton Head, we stopped there.
Oh, is that right?
Great people, very good people.
Yeah, you can't argue with that.
That's too bad.
Yep.
We're sleeping there, and it's I'm looking around and I'm like, are we in your bedroom? And he goes, yeah, we don't want you to take the guest bedroom. I thought, oh my gosh, that's, we don't want to put you out. They're so nice.
What happened to your picture?
To my picture?
Yeah.
Oh, it must have been because of just waited too long.
Google Play.
Oh, this stupid thing. That's why I don't use that phone anymore, because that keeps coming on and nobody can figure out how to fix it. So I had to get a new phone.
There you go.
Then it'll stop doing it after a while. Oh man. Freeze frame.
Do 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 do.
You want to try to call Mr. Janikowski?
I don't know. Is he going to read 4 pages of dialogue for us?
He might not. I would synopsize it in case. Where's my glasses?
Is that a British term?
See, I can turn this one off, but I got to turn this one on.
Do you want me to?
There we go. See, look at that.
You want me to ring him? It's only 5:48, so it still hasn't technically opened up. Did you sent? Wait, hold on. You sent me his number. Hold on. I have it from the other day.
I can't find where I put my...
Should I call him?
Yeah, try it. See what happens.
All right, here we go. 3-3. All right, I got to turn the volume down on that because I learned from the Ryan Jackson call that I have this little dial over here on my Mackie mixer that I need to turn down. Listen. Uh-oh.
You have reached the voicemail box of 71.
Whoop. We won't give his phone number out on the air.
Yeah.
All right.
That's what he gets for not being there.
Is my sound okay?
Yes, you sound terrific.
Is it too loud? Because you can't adjust it, I found out.
I can adjust it down a little bit, but go ahead. Give me
I didn't know if it was too loud or not, or too quiet or not.
No, not too quiet. You're fine. Do it again. Give me a test 1, 2, 3.
Testing. Looks like it automatically adjusts too.
No, I make these adjustments on. If you're looking at my screen.
No, I'm actually looking at my sound board of the of my settings. and it was decreasing the volume.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So
All right. Hey, Mr. Froming,
is
how about a sound check from Mr. Froming?
Check, check, check. Double check.
well, he was quieter that time.
Yeah, he's quieter.
Well, I can bring up the volume
No,
without any
perfect.
problem.
There you go.
I was trying to be reserved and
Oh, you're drinking from the reserved bottle.
yeah.
well, that was one of the things I was going to show. I got this from Ralph.
What is it?
Ralph gave me this when we stopped at his house.
Oh,
It is a 1975 Joseph E. Seagram's and Son experimental bottle
wow.
of. I actually made a copy of the label because I didn't want to lose the actual real label. So this was some stuff that they were making. It 151 proof.
No kidding.
So I brought some to the hospitality room last time and shared it sparingly. It's definitely got a kick to it. Joseph E. Seagram and Sons, Louisville, Kentucky.
What is it, Louisville or is it Louisville? What is it, David?
Louisville.
Louisville. You know, there are
Louisville.
There are people there that are probably cringing right now if they heard you say that.
Yeah.
Louisville.
Louisville or even Louis. I don't know if it's Louis.
Louisville.
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 You got to say, how do you like this? How do you like the advertisement?
What are you eating, Tom?
What are you eating, Tom? Cold coffee, David.
Oh, we did have a good Western Section meeting there one year, a few years back.
Yeah, we did. Yep.
Where? Louisville?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I have fond memories of me and McClintock.
Had that nice ride on the
We
boat
actually,
on that
we had a good time.
That's good.
the steamship.
Steamship Lollipop?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I guess it's not a good place to be today, though.
Probably not.
Probably not. Yep. Oh, man. So we are, I'm going to go live on Facebook, too. Hold on. I got to, man. Well, since you're not, let me go live. Here we go. We're going live on Facebook. We should be, we are live on 3 platforms right now, man. I'll tell you what. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me, I'll get you up there. Hold on there. Just leave it like that for a second. Don't move. I will. That's guest number 3. There you go. So is that Donnie Ayers?
It is, yes.
It's blurry.
Yeah, so you can't see on my screen. I can read it real clearly and all that, but on yours, obviously, it's not. You can't read his nameplate.
So what happens is, with all of the, I mean, we're going through the web like 4 or 5 times.
Oh, here's a picture of that. 146.9 proof.
Is that all?
Tank number 42, mix 110.
Wow. All right.
1975.
Well, I'm just going to let everybody out there on YouTube, welcome to the R&R Ranch. And, you know, we mix a little bit of technical knowledge with little, wait, let me go back to that because that was a good shot of that label.
Trying to center it.
There it is. Look at that. Sample not for sale. The rectifying room. Wow, look at that. Unfortunately, Google Play Services has stopped. Wow, 146.9%. That's pretty good. That's really good.
It's still fresh.
Yeah. Well,
I see Greg Chantal out there. He said to mention about the Eastern Section meeting. I know Tom has done that a couple times today.
yes, I have. And you know what? We even put the link in on the website. Or in the chat today.
Right.
What I can do is I can do the same thing tonight, and the Eastern Section is taking registrations. We're going to have a vendor booth just like we did. the eastern section doesn't have an R&R Ranch equivalent.
I don't think anybody does.
No. Well,
I know one try. I heard one tried. I don't want to say which one, but
Section?
no, a state in the section.
State
yeah,
list.
I think I remember that. But yeah, so I'm going to put the link out for registration just so everybody has it. So we've been hard at work on the eastern section as well, and I'm pretty excited about that. Fred Hartwell is going to do a program on
Conductors, right?
yes, and I'll tell you what, I did a teaser with him. One of those where like we did the advertisements, right?
Right.
And I'll tell you what, he's good. He's good. He can really simplify some things. So that wasn't good. All right.
There, should have had this one for this morning.
Oh wait.
Christine's smiley faced.
Yep. Hold on. I got to put that up. Oh wait, there you go. Yeah. You got something to work with there. All right. Where's my chat? I'm gonna pop chat out. Pop out chat. Shoot.
Yeah, it was David. Wasn't it nice to find out we have all these public inputs when we're not actually there? We have to sit in our virtual room and go through all these instead of
It's gonna be a weird meeting.
yeah.
Which meeting? What do you mean? What meeting?
Panel meetings? 'Cause
Virtually.
Oh.
with Jeff saying we had more inputs than we ever did.
Oh yeah.
But now we're not there. I mean, my panel always went till Saturday, but we always finished earlier. So this year we might actually would have been going till Saturday.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to say. And I guess we're still covering the same amount of time each day. So
Yeah. But in our case, I know we always got done a day or two early.
right.
Except for the one year that they shorted us and then determined while they were in the middle of it that no, we needed the extra days. So.
Oh man. I should, David. I should show the video of. I gotta see if I can find it. The video of Mike Forrester singing "Way Up in the Sky." I will find it. I gotta find that video.
That's the Merriweather fight song, correct?
Yeah.
There. Speaking of.
There she blows, Cupcake Island.
I think you could probably give him a call, Tom, and I'm sure he'd sing it for everybody.
Oh, you're
It's probably
right.
at McDonald's having coffee.
Yeah. But there was a nothing's better than a good video of him 3 sheets to the wind sitting in a bar singing it. Nothing better.
I hear you.
I've got a video of Ed Lowry getting a watch from a magician.
Oh, really?
But I don't know. I gotta.
Yeah, that was at one of those section meetings as well, right?
Yeah. But where?
Some of the one with Nancy Lloyd.
Yeah. That was a good one.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't find it, man. Oh wait, no, that's not it. Nope. Oh well, we tried. We gave it the old 1-3.
Let me try to focus on this once. Tell me when this is focusing better, because I can't.
You know what I'll do?
Now it's worse. I know that.
You know what I can do is let me try to get. Let me pop up guest 3. There you go.
That's better. Yeah.
Your camera's way off of it. I'm looking at a heart.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to get at least the focus.
There you go. Well, you had it, then you moved
I
it.
had it and I moved my fingers.
Is that off of a phone?
No, this is well, it's on a phone.
I was gonna say, if you text it to me, I can put it up, email it to
Camera.
me. And you won't have to do that. There you go. Don't turn it sideways. There you go.
There.
Yep.
If you turn it sideways, it'd be full screen.
Yep. That's not bad. Look, there's a broken Samsung. Samsung Blue. Not bad. That's the R&R Ranch that I know.
There we go.
Nice.
Forrester wants to give us a lesson on the Merriweather fight song.
Yeah, we're gonna have. I gotta find that video too. All right. Well, it is 5. What is it? 6:01.
It is.
It
Who,
sure
who,
is.
who's counting? All right.
Yeah. Who's counting? But hold on. What? Since it's 6:01, we can. Let's go back to this. We've got Neil Mathis out there. Nice to be in the R&R Ranch. However, he misses the people and popcorn, warm food, and cold beer. And that's exactly right. We got Greg Chantal. We've got Steve Froming. II Western. I'm not sure who that is.
Is that Forrester?
I don't know. Is that Forster?
I think that's what his name is online there.
It just says II Western.
Yeah, then it says Mike Forrester won a lesson. So I'm not sure.
Where do you see that at? Oh, wait. I got top chat. I got to take it off of top chat and put it on live chat. There it is. Mike Forrester want a lesson. Should we call him?
Yeah, why not?
We're gonna butt dial Mike Forrester. F-O-R. Hold on.
You think he'll answer? Did
He might. I gotta find his number here. Mike Forrester. There we go. Can you hear it ringing?
Yes.
Okay.
I got a feeling he's not going to answer.
Way up in the sky, the little birds fly.
So loud.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had my other volume down. Go ahead. You got to sing it, Mike.
Way up in the sky, the little birds fly, while down in their nest, the baby birds rest. Shh, they're sleeping. The bright sun comes up, the dew falls away. Good morning, the little birds say.
I love it. I love it. I couldn't find my video of you singing that, Mike. If I could find it, I would use it.
Well, thanks for thinking of me.
Yep. So what do you think of the program so far, bud?
Oh, it's great. Great job. Great.
Excellent. Yeah, we've had some good presentations this week so far. Very impressed.
Oh, I know. It's been super. You did a great job.
Yeah. All I did was create the platform. It was all those good quality presentations, you know?
Well, you picked well.
Woo. Someone was loud.
Should I make a move like he's talking?
Yeah, there you go.
Start talking, Mike. Keep talking.
Eey. Well, that's good, Michael. Well, you did. We got a lot of good stuff done this week, and I kept getting texts from Mike saying, "Hey, can you take care of this guy? Can you take care of that guy?" And we took care of him, didn't we?
Sure did.
Got it done.
Everything's beautiful.
Gotta love it. I can't wait to see you in person at the next section meeting.
Well, I hope so.
Yes. That's our goals. All right. What are you thinking, David?
I'm ready when you guys are, whenever you want to get started.
All right. Well, Michael, we're going to hang up on you. You can watch us on YouTube, okay?
Okay, 10-4. See you later.
10-4, brother. Take care. Awesome. Well, that was fun. All right. So David is going to give us a presentation on the new style manual, right? So Dave, excellent.
Revised style manual.
On the revised style manual. So do you want to share your screen out?
Ew.
Well, then let's just get it done. Here,
Okay.
I'm going to give you
started.
control. I'm going to give you control. How do I do that? I'm going to stop sharing. And then I am going to all right, so I lost these guys. David, just bear with me, everybody. Let me
As I'm sharing my screen, but
Yeah, I can see it. What I have to do is hold on. Hold on. How do I? Okay, I got to move this to here. Just give me a break here. 1 second. I wanted to go to a floating panel. There we go. Oh, I might be able to do this. All right, so hold on there, David. Let me do the code panel. You are just a little bit off. You are just a little bit off, literally, right?
I've heard that before.
I know you have. Okay, you know what? This is going to work. I just invented something new. Are you going to put that in presentation mode, or are you just going to leave it like that?
Okay.
You're going to put it in. Okay, you're going to go ahead and put it in slideshow mode. There we go. All right, so I can do this. Hold on. Oh, I'm loving this.
Sure.
Yep. Give me a second here. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. There's David Williams. And that is the PowerPoint presentation. Well, go for it, David. The floor is yours, brother.
Okay. Again, we're in the R&R Ranch, so there's my contact information at the bottom. I'm an electrical inspector in Delta Township in Lansing, Michigan. Been at Delta for about 25 years. Prior to that, I had 6 years working for the state of Michigan as an inspector, and I've started my apprenticeship in '74. So I guess I've been in the, no, I won't even say it.
Don't even go there.
Don't even go there. So I've served on a number of code panels. I started with panel 5 for 3 code cycles. Then I chaired panel 7 for the 17th cycle. Then I was asked to go to the correlating committee, which you can no longer chair a panel. So I went to the correlating committee, and I've went back to panel 10 because panel 10 got a lot more work than they used to have. They used to have just Article 240. Now they've got 215, 225, 230, 240, and the new Article 242. So and with the correlating committee, you're involved quite a bit. Besides just the NEC, you have the other 9 documents that are also related to the NEC correlating committee. The correlating committee, a lot of people, it used to be called a technical correlating committee, and now it's just the correlating committee, because that's really all we do is correlate between the documents. We don't make any technical changes or things like that. So it's pretty nice. And in this year, I was asked to chair the usability task group, which comprises of 7 great people. We have Kim Cervantes and Jeff Sargent from NFPA. We have Mike Johnston, Robert Osborne, Donnie Cook, Rich Holub, and I think I've covered them all. I hope I didn't forget one, but so we were tasked to look at the style manual and make some suggested revisions. And we had like 25 to 30 calls in about a 2 or 3 month period. So it was it was a lot of work, and we were meeting like 2 or 3 times a week, so it was pretty substantial. Now, I've been to the R&R. I remember my first Western section meeting was in 1991. It was in Dearborn, and it got me hooked. We had our at that meeting. I think it was for the 92, the 93 code cycle at that time, and they had the ROPs available so you could see who submitted the proposals, what the substantiation was, and all these code people were there and around that knew all this information. And like, wow, that is so neat. And so that got me hooked on the Western section. And I think anybody who is in the industry and is into the NEC, whether they're teaching or is an inspector or electrician, get involved in the process because it really makes a difference out there. So, being at the R&R, Steve, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
The R&R has been in the Wisconsin chapter for a long time. Any idea what year it started?
Back in 1999, Ron Janikowski and Ron Palm started just putting stuff together and kind of expanded from there. I'd have to think about for a minute when we started going to the Western section. Ron would bring a trailer of his own concoction of different things and group of stuff, but yeah, 99 was when really kind of went together.
Okay, because I remember in 91 at my first section meeting, all the other vendors had their own hospitality room. So you could go to various places and get information on their products at the booths or at their hotel suites after the meetings, which was pretty neat. But with liability issues, that kind of went away, and the R&R picked up and gives the people a place to sit down, have a cold beverage as they're talking code. So,
Or a warm beverage
or a warm
if
beverage,
you have
right.
it on
Or-
room temperature.
Or
And-
even a water.
You know what keeps people from drinking this? You just take it and drink it yourself. Of course, I have seen some of those Iowa people, and they don't care.
So it doesn't go away. Yeah, I was always wondering when they first started with the Western section. Now, was it with the Wisconsin chapter for a lot of years before that?
Um, uh, why don't you continue with your thing here? Let me research that. I didn't.
I sprung that on you. Sorry.
Yeah, you sprung that one on me here. I got these three pages in fine print to read here. I didn't.
I hear you.
Keep going.
Okay. So let me go back to one. I guess this slide didn't get changed. So the NFPA has had a style manual for, well, there's two different style manuals. There's the manual of style for NFPA technical committee documents that provides editorial guidelines and pertains to all the NFPA documents, including the National Electrical Code. But the National Electrical Code is a little bit different. We have our own numbering system, such as we do the articles that says Article 210 for branch circuits. The NFPA, of course, all the other documents have, you could be in 6.1.3.5.7, and I don't know how we'd ever remember that, but the way the code is set up with the numbering system we have, it really works good. And that all stems to having a style manual. And this program is covering the NFP or the NEC style manual, which has been around for about 50 years. It started with the, I'm not sure if it was with the correlating committee, but now it's under the usability task group for the correlating committee, who's responsible for this document since 99. The document is not just for the NEC, even though it's called the NEC style manual, it's also used for NFPA 70E, which is the standard for electrical safety in the workplace. Okay. So this is and again, I wanted to thank those members from the usability task group for all the work that they put into making this happen. A lot of work. So this is the revisions for the 2020 edition of the style manual. The style manual is still currently under the 2015 edition. It's was scheduled to go before the Standards Council at their August meeting, but due to some other conflicts, it was postponed till December, the December meeting. NFPA has vetted this manual out and they're pretty well satisfied, and it is scheduled to go or to be adopted in November, and it will be used for the first draft meetings for the 2023 code cycle. So in this first one, it shows the layout of the style manual. There's 5 different chapters, and you can see that there's some editorial guidelines. This numbering and structuring is an important one. It was voted on during the Standards Council meeting, and again, will be voted on during the Standards Council meeting, and we will be using it for this cycle. On the left side, we see where it references some reasonings for having the style manual provides consistency throughout the document. You know, by having the numbering structure that we have, the certain requirements that we have on use of the terms that we use is all referenced from the style manual. With the style manual, it reduces the number of correlation notes and correlating from the correlating committee. Without the manual style, how would the code panels actually know how to arrange the text that they have? So that's the reason for that. Improves clarity in what is being written by the technical committees. The correlating committee is more of an oversight. Maybe there's things that are done by the technical committees that really doesn't match the style manual. And from there, that's where the correlating committee will meet. You know, we have various members in the correlating committee that also sit on various code panels, such as I sit on panel 10. And each of those members on the correlating committee also have to review all the work that's done by probably about 4 to 5 different code panels. So there's a lot of work that's involved on being in the correlating committee for sure. To improve the clarity is probably one of the most important parts of the style manual. And it's what is being written by the technical committees, helps guide the committee on things that they may be doing incorrectly. And as we went through this document to make changes, we found a lot of issues with the style manual that needed to be resolved, and or that still need to be resolved. As Jeff mentioned, there's about 50 global public inputs when he had his program on the R&R Ranch on Tuesday night. There's about 50 global inputs that would help change the code. I submitted about 11 of them based on the changes that we have in the 2020 style manual revisions. Again, the purpose of the style manual is similar to the purpose of the code. It's the first section, and it references that it falls under the National Electrical Code as well as the PA 70E. But also it's intended to be used as a practical working tool to assist them in making the document as clear, usable, and unambiguous as possible. Not as easy task to do in most cases. So this is the chapter layout, and this was revised before we had the chapters for the NEC, but since this document also includes the 70E, those chapters were also, and you can see NFPA 70E is definitely modeled a little bit differently than the NEC. Articles are actually, well, back to the chapters are subdivisions of the code itself. And then we have articles, which are actually subdivisions of the various chapters that we have. Each subdivision has a title. Titles are divided into subsections, and the articles are divided into sections and subsections as well. See if I can get rid of this one thing that's kind of in my way here. There we go. That helps. Parts. We have a lot of articles that have a lot of parts. I think there's about 121 different articles that have various parts to them. It's when an article is so large that you want to break it up into multiple parts. You know, we have like Article 250, I believe, has about 10 parts. I think Article 410 has about 14 parts. So it significantly breaks the article into various parts. One thing that was added in this time that says where an article contains multiple parts, and includes general installation requirements such as requirements shall be located in the first part titled Part 1 General. So there's a lot of the code making panels that have different titles for Part 1. And that should change through this process of the revised style manual and to get all those various panels more in line with what the code says. Part title shall be descriptive and as concise as possible. And if you look at some of the various parts that are out there, some of them are, I think some of them are over 5 to 6 words or so. So they should be concise. When we first started out with the revisions that we did in 2002 for the Chapter 3 articles, Part 1 was general, Part 2 was installation, and Part 3 was construction. And I'm not sure where it came into that they changed it to construction specifications, but you may see some changes to how that is written. The wording that's in red text that's underlined is some of the revisions that were done for this revision process. Subdividing sections must be permitted or shall be permitted to be subdivided for clarity. Again, that's totally up to the individual code making panels. Each subdivision representing either a rule or part of a rule. Up to 3 levels of subdivisions are permitted. So we normally have, we start out with the article number 210, let's say, as an example. Then we go to the section, which would be, let's say, .8 for GFCI protection. Then we use, from there, we break it down into 3 levels. A capital letter A would be your first level subdivision. A capital letter followed by a number would be your second level. And then from there, a capital letter, a number, and a lowercase letter would be your third level subdivision. So, and each subdivision is able to contain a list if they choose to. So here was an example that it's a section that had multiple paragraphs and multiple rules in it, and they revised it for clarity, and you can see how it makes the code so much more usable by having the changes that were done in the previous, I think this was a 2020 code change that created that. So list formats. Lists are a method of organizing the items necessary to complete single word phrases or sentences. Items in a list shall not contain titles. So we've got issues regarding titles, and we'll cover that as we go also. Multi-level lists are permitted to be arranged alternatively in numerical and alphabetical. If it's the first list that you're going through, it's going to be alpha or numeric. And then if there's another list within that list, that would change to alphabetical at that time. And you can see the previous wording that we had in 22053 was more in a paragraph form, and having a list is so much easier to use. And as many people know, that most of the code panels have been asked to make more lists into the code to make it easier for people to use. Subdivision titles, and this is a common error, that first and second level subdivisions shall have titles, and third level subdivisions are permitted to have titles but are not required. And that's a common error that a lot of code panels do. They create subdivisions or first and second level subdivisions and do not include titles with them. And if you look in the code, you're going to see a number of those that have that issue. And here's an example from the 2017 code, where in 68011 they start out in item A that it starts talking about the sentence, but there really is no title to that. And same with B and C, there are no titles to those first level subdivisions. All that A, B, and C are all first level subdivisions. So it took me a while to figure it out what they really meant by first and second level subdivisions. And I think here's another example of, it also had some, you're going to see some correlating committee comments based on those kind of issues. 2.1.5.3 references to subdivisions. References to subdivision within a requirement shall include the section number prior to the subdivision. a lot of times, some of the code panels would put in there that in this example it says outlet devices shall have an ampere rating of not less than the load to be served and shall comply with A and B. Well, now we made it clear now that we want that section number in that subdivision reference. Okay. Here's a a section that has both first and second level subdivisions. And the style manual is full of examples, which is kind of nice because you can look at it, kind of understand what they're trying to say in some cases by looking at the example. So it does make it easier to follow. So there's not too many sections of the code that actually have first, second, and third level subdivisions. So we get the ABC, then we go to the 1, and then we go to A2 as well. So there's first, second, and third level subdivisions in 210.5. So not too many sections that actually have that. That gets us to chapter 2. Steve, did you want to take a break and tell us some things, or?
Yeah, yeah. Well, you're the one taking the break. I'm just sitting here.
Well, I don't want to make everybody go to sleep too soon.
I sent Tom the link to Ed Lowry, so you can see if you can get that to work for later.
So you want
Okay.
a phone call?
No, it's a video link.
Oh, a video of it. Okay, gotcha.
It's one of those things where it's technically challenging because it's on Dropbox, and then you got to take it out of there and all that stuff. But I did find an answer to your earlier question. Sometime back in the early 90s is when the annual event really got going for Ron Janikowski and Ron Palm, along with Joe Hurdle, and they were at Always Enjoying Cocktails. So we started going together to the liquor mart and brought some bottles along, and with Ray Weber and his wife Donna and Ed and Jan, they get together for some drinks, got together and thought, hey, maybe we should get, more specific. And Ray Weber was the one that came up with the name for the R&R room. And then at that time, Joe Hurdle was the head of the Wisconsin electrical section and secretary treasurer of our Wisconsin chapter. And they started putting together some items for the budget and things that went forward to that, and things would started to expand. And they started to get their own equipment, the popcorn machine, and we get Nescos, and we get a couple of pizza ovens, and then we got a freezer. And it's like, well, if you got this and I need this, well, okay, we got our own meat slicer. And of course, yeah, we had chafing dishes, the nice one. But some places don't like you to have open flames, especially anymore. And of course, Ron's famous with his deep fryer. And the smell of fresh popcorn would always get some people to come in. And it has been said that some members said that they would only probably come to the meetings on code panel or code, new code years, except for the hospitality room to make things a little easier. And plus, we had a lot of support from vendors, especially starting out. Like you say, the vendors had their own rooms, but then they started helping out a lot with Eaton Busman and Dan Neeser, especially helping us out, and kind of melded things together. And some of the people might remember back in 9/11 when we were out in Wyoming there, that that was kind of a scary, weird time there with all the planes being grounded and whatnot. But things were already in the works, so they had a big contingent of stuff going out there, and had a nice place to the deep fry Wisconsin good stuff on the patio to kind of take everybody's mind off things. Although the hotel, I remember that when we went back a few years ago to the hotel, was like, don't make a mess like you did last time. Well, that wasn't me. That was Ron. And then he made the mess. The patio kind of got a lot of grease spill on it. But things like that, people would come and play cards, and there was a lot of later nights in there with just a lot of discussion. And it's just, if you haven't been there, it's just we started putting, or Mike Forster started putting on the attendance and on your cards, have you visited the hospitality room to try to see how many people go there? And you hear, oh, I'm not going to go there. That's all kinds of carousing going on. If it's one of those things like, everybody complains about it. They haven't done it. Then they go do it. It's like, oh, is this what it is? I didn't know that. For years I would go to these things and I never, left the parking lot. I'd park when I got there and there's no reason to go anywhere else. You got hors d'oeuvres and food besides the banquets and the lunches and everything that we get with the Western section and our Wisconsin chapter meetings, like that. There's no reason to go anywhere else.
Now you haven't talked about football.
Well, we do have football pools, and there have been times that are more challenging than others to watch the game that you want to watch. And, everybody's got it all set up. Oh, I'm going to go on my Spectrum account and we're going to watch the game. Well, then we find out that Spectrum says, well, if you're outside of your area, you can't access your digital box. It's like, oh, well, there's a learning curve. Now I think we know to have a VPN, so Spectrum doesn't know where you are.
Ah, good idea.
Yeah, but I mean, some people might remember also for the Jubilee down there in Florida. We had a lot of stuff going on there, and the Wisconsin chapter had I think, about a $10,000 budget to put on an event. Couldn't do it at the Disney properties because of the prices and what you have to pay for a lot of things. But Ron was able to pull it off at a nearby facility, and there was a lot of sand and beaches and a little bit of we could walk around on this nature trail. I remember there was alligators in there and stuff, and quite the thing, and it's there for people to enjoy, not just for the Wisconsin chapter people. It's a budgeted item from here, but like I've said before, we get a lot of help from other chapters, like especially North Dakota, Iowa, Wyoming sometimes, and Michigan, and Ohio, and some chapters give when they can, and not all can give every year, and that's fine. We just like to defray the cost because there is there's an expense to putting this on. You got to get people there, you got stuff there, you got to have the actual things, and nobody wants to run out of anything.
No.
And it's a nice time, and it's been growing and getting a little bit bigger and more in tune of what people need. A lot of people are not coming for liquor. It's not just having food and drink.
So it's the camaraderie, the
Right.
networking that you can get with the Western section meeting. You get more so in the R&R Ranch.
And I'll tell you what, that after this Western section meeting, there are a lot more people that know about the R&R Ranch. So it's going to happen. Your budget, Steve, is going to go up.
Well, we'll hopefully we'll work on that. We do have a tip jar or a jar that you can make a donation. There's no charge either. You don't have to. You don't have to. We don't have a cover charge. You can come for as long as you want or as short a time as you want and filter through. And we get a lot of good help. Larry Kippison and his wife help us out quite a bit when we're in the Western section. We've got, our president, Pam Thiesenhusen and Adam Pluer come down, and myself and Sue aren't quite as involved in it as we were a few years ago. We're got other things, but those guys are doing a good job. Dale always knows, remembers what you want to have. And, it's a nice place. It's not just one thing or another. And yeah. Come on down and check us out in Michigan.
Take
I
a sheet.
see that Felix is on with us again from Columbia, South America.
Yeah. You know what?
About where can I find the NEC style manual? If you go to the document info page for NFPA 70 and just scroll down to the current edition and scroll down to I believe it's additional information, and the style manual is there. Presently, it's showing it the 2015 version because that's the one that is adopted at this time. Okay, Chapter 2 deals with the structuring and numbering, which is pretty important, and you're going to see a major change when you get to definitions in our next, I think it's the next slide actually. But the scopes, each article shall have a scope, which is the first section of the article. And where an article has multiple parts, the scope shall be the first section of part 1. There's a lot of various articles out there that don't have that quite right. Sometimes they have a couple sections in the scope, or the scope is before the part. And so again, the style manual has made it clear where that needs to be located. The approval of the article scope statements are the responsibility of the NEC Correlating Committee. The panels have the ability to submit a change to a scope if they want to. Again, it's just reviewed by the Correlating Committee, and if they accept it, then they'll approve it at that point. But you'll probably still get a note saying it's the responsibility of the Correlating Committee for the scopes. And those are usually accepted. So here's the big change. Okay, let me go back. In the previous cycles of the code, well, let's look at other NFPA documents. Almost every other NFPA document has all the definitions in a specific chapter, or in some cases, a specific article. Excuse me. So with the NEC, we've always had Article 100, where anytime a definition was found in more than one article of the code, based on the previous style manual, it was moved to Article 100. Okay, so, and with Article 100, we had 2 parts for the longest time. We had Part 1 for general and Part 2 for over 1,000 volts. 2020 code moved a bunch of definitions from the hazardous location articles from Chapter 5 into Part 3 of Article 100. So that has changed under the new style manual. So all definitions, and also the .2 section of a specific article could have definitions in it, okay, that were specific to that article only, okay. A good example is Article 517 dealing with healthcare facilities. The .2 section has a lot of definitions which apply only to Article 517. Makes sense. And also the cable and raceway articles. You know, the rigid metal conduit is found in a lot of various articles throughout the code, but the definition for the cable and raceway articles was still kept within the article itself, again, the .2 section for rigid metal conduit. So it says definitions of terms used in the requirements of the document shall be located in Article 100. Article 100 shall not be subdivided, which means you won't have a Part 1, a Part 2, or even a Part 3 or 4 or 5 if somebody decided they wanted maybe they wanted all the hazard or the healthcare facilities definitions in one specific article or part of Article 100. That's not going to happen. All the definitions are going to be in 100 in alphabetical order. So the previous Article 100, I think in the Part 1, we had about 225 definitions. Adding Parts 2 and 3, we're up to about 463 definitions. And then we add about, I think 300 more in the rest of the code. So now we're up to about 763 definitions going into Article 100. So it's going to be interesting how this all goes. I think, you know, we've had people on the correlating committee as well as on the usability task group that we discussed this at our meeting in March of the correlating committee, and that idea was thrown out, and there was maybe 1, maybe 2 people that really weren't in favor of it, but more people talked about it. They felt that was the way to go. It wasn't just the usability task group saying, this is what we're doing. And again, this has all been approved by the correlating committee, as well as, again, it really moves the NEC to a similar style that the other NFPA documents have. So it's definitely a good idea. So as you see in the 2020 code, we had 3 different parts. General hazardous location, actually it was over 1,000 volts was 2, and hazardous locations was 3. So that's an error in that slide. Again, so all of them are going to be in Article 100, and there is no more a .2 section in the various articles that have definitions. as we go, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. If you serve on any of the code panels, if you would put your name and what code panel you represent, we appreciate knowing that too. So always, it's nice to know who we're talking with and who we're dealing with.
Yep, and we're doing dial-ins too. So if somebody wants to participate, I see we had Mike Johnston and Mark Early out on Facebook watching. So if any of those
Perfect.
guys want to dial in, just send me a text. They know my cell number, or they can send an email to tsdnqe@gmail.com.
Yeah, I would welcome any insights that anybody has, especially Mark, Mike, and Larry, Jeff, anybody. If I'm not covering something right, or you got some comments, feel free to weigh in. We appreciate your being with us tonight. Lists, all the numbered lists shall be permitted within a definition. And I didn't know that we really had any definitions that had lists, but we did find some, so we included a section that referenced that. Style definitions really hasn't changed. It says they have to be in alphabetical order, shall not contain the term that is being defined. And that's a real tough issue. Trying to have a term and not include that term in the definition that you come up with. For a code panel, that's pretty difficult sometimes. Definitions shall not contain requirements or recommendations. And I know the correlating committee has turned down a few definitions because of that, because there's a tendency to want to put requirements in there. So those things are not permitted. The title structure. And again, this has changed based on what we've done with moving everything to Article 100. Definitions that have subparts shall be listed alphabetically by the base term with a comma and then the modifying descriptor. As you see in the red text below, we used to have under circuit breakers, which was, I guess, the base term, and from there it was an adjustable as applied to circuit breakers. So now it's going to be circuit breaker, comma, adjustable. And you'll see that in parentheses is adjustable circuit breaker. And if we go to that next section, it explains why we did that. Because there's a lot of electronic media out there that we use, we often want the term to make it easily searchable. And the defined term shall then appear in parentheses as it would be found in the document, as we saw earlier. Here's another couple examples for rigid metal conduit and equipment grounding conductor. Grounding conductor, comma, equipment, and then the term is spelled out as it would be for searchable. And there's also an acronym there, the EGC. I mean, we use that acronym quite a bit. I believe it's presently in the NEC now with that acronym. And when we get to 3.2.3, which deals with acronyms, we'll see that there's some changes there. Because if a definition includes an acronym, you can use that acronym in the code throughout if you want to. Again, that's going to be up to the code panels. They don't have to use the acronym, but they're permitted to do it. Okay. So that's going to make it pretty easy to use the acronyms in the future. And in the previous cycles of the code, that if you didn't have, you had to use the term first and then the acronym before you could, the first instance in the article that you're dealing with. And we violated that a number of times in the 2020 code, where you're using the acronym even though it wasn't even addressed in that article previously, which is not correct. And notice here with rigid metal conduit in the RMC, underneath there's a conduit, comma, rigid metal. So we don't really know which way the code panels are going to go when it comes to writing those definitions. I guess that they may have some input, or it may come back to the correlating committee and they may want to consider revising how that term is referenced. Article number. Again, there's a lot of definitions that apply to only one article, especially in Article 517. But again, some of those definitions really aren't used in any other parts of the code. Here's another example right here. So the article number would be in parentheses, shall follow the definition. So it says sign body, and then it gives you the article number that it applies to, and also the code panel number who has purview over that definition. But if you look at the term, sign body really isn't used anywhere else in the code. So is it even necessary to put the article number there? Something that we need to think about. Code panel numbers we kind of talked about already. And they also, there's a couple things that are addressed in this example, as well as in this rule, not just the code making panel number. It says for the National Electrical Code, the code making panels responsible for the definition shall be identified in parentheses at the end of the definition following any abstract or article information. So, and you see in this case, the patient bed location is the definition that's extracted from NFPA 99. And in the bracketed text, there's the 99 standard, as well as the section number that you'll find that definition. I think all the definitions are in 3.3 of NFPA 99. And this is patient bed location is the 135th definition in NFPA 99. Again, the reference is 517 as the article that it applies to, then the code making panel number is right after that. 2.2.2.4, merging all the definitions to Article 100 has its challenges. Multiple definitions from different articles and panels. I think we looked at that we had a lot of duplicate definitions. And when there's duplicate definitions, we've addressed that here in this section. Where two or more definitions exist for a term, a task group shall be formed to work on the development of a single acceptable definition. If this can't be accomplished, another term shall be selected or the term shall be identified in the context of the specific application. As you see, we did with the accessible years ago. One is applied to equipment and the other is applied to wiring methods. We have multiple definitions for disconnects, I believe is one of them. And disconnecting means, that's what it is. Because we have two that are the same for part 1 and part 2. And then there's one in Article 551 that is different than the other two. So we either need to create a different definition, modify the current definition, or something will need to take place.
Dave, maybe you should take a break there and have a beverage.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I can get Mark early on the line here if you want.
Sure, go ahead.
Let's get him on the line.
Maybe he's got some good comments for us. Now, this is a beer that's right down the street from the hotel that we're at in Bel Air for the 2021 section meeting. This is called Humolumpalicious. And for some reason, I was talking to my buddy, Tom Dimitrovis. Instead of calling it Humolumpalicious, he wants to call it Human Humpalicious. And I'm thinking, no, that's not
Well,
correct.
that's what I thought you said. All right,
Tom,
here
if you're
comes
going to put Mark on the line there, put his picture up there. See what I got for you?
Yep.
Hi there. Let me put the speaker on. Hi there. Can you hear me?
I can
Yes.
hear you, Mark. We all can hear you.
Okay.
Good to hear you.
I'm glad you can make it, buddy. So we got Mark early on the line, and Mark is enjoying post NFPA these days, aren't you?
I am. I've been out of there for a year and 24 days.
Wow.
What are you doing?
He's got it down to the days.
Yeah, it was a good ride, but I'm glad to be on this side of it. I left somebody fabulous in charge of the NEC. Jeff is doing a terrific job. And I also wanted to commend the usability task group. They did an awesome job. I got to see a late draft of that, and I thought, wow, this is the stuff I wish we could have done while I was there. So I think you've set things up for success going forward. And I'm thrilled. And I hear little bits and pieces about what's happening for the 2023 cycle. And every day I check to see whether or not the site is live, so I can start going through it. Not that I'm going to micromanage. Again, I think Jeff's doing a great job. Larry's a fabulous leader, so it's all good.
Awesome.
Hey, Mark, thanks for appreciating the work that was done, and I'm glad you're favorable. There was a discussion a couple days ago or on another call that how many public inputs did Mark Early submit?
I think the number was 18.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, there was one I was going to submit that
No Dan Leaf, huh?
Hold on 1 second, Mark. I lost you. 1 second.
Uh-oh.
1 second.
Oh.
We got you back?
I'm still here.
All right, perfect.
Okay.
You said
Yeah,
That's for 18. That was good.
Yeah, I think it was about 18, and I've seen people talking on Facebook about much larger numbers than that. So I tried to keep my damage minimal.
keep your damage minimal. I love it.
Well, we always look forward to your public inputs.
And of course, I'm a consultant now, so some of what you saw or will see is sponsored, but I'm not doing anything controversial.
Awesome. Well, if it's the NEC, when you look at your public inputs, and I know you've said it many times, and now we get to say it to you. We look forward to your public inputs, like David Williams just said.
Yeah, well, I hope you do.
So, what do you said you got a brief look at the style manual. Did you see anything in there that you would stand out as saying that's like a major change that is one is better than another?
I think putting all the definitions in one place is a great move forward, and we discussed it a number of times over the years. And what makes it a great move forward from the construction of a book is I open it up and I have definitions. I go further into, oh, wait a minute, here's a few more. Go further into the book. Oh, wait a minute, here's a few more. Yeah. And so that I never liked from a book construction standpoint. And I know that the staff editors weren't wild about it either. I understand that you worked a lot with Kim Cervantes, who is the staff editor, and she's been the editor for a number of years, and she has been a godsend to me. So I'm glad that you were able to get her input.
Yeah, she attended, I would say, almost every call that we had.
That's great.
Yeah, that's especially as many as we had. If it wasn't for COVID, I don't know if we would have got as much work done.
And one of the other things that was really great about working with Kim is that she understood when I say, no, you can't do that. We had a previous editor once who gave me, she went through the book and gave me a draft that there were 3 or 4 changes per page, and it was about 1,000 pages. So that's 3,000 or 4,000 edits. And I talked to a VP at NFPA and I said, look, she just gave me all these edits, these editorial fixes that might make it a little bit better. What do you think I should do? He said, well, it's up to you, but I would not want to get caught messing with the NEC. I said, got it.
Nice.
And we didn't use any of it.
Wow.
That was before the usability task group. And I think over the years, the usability task group has done a lot to improve the code. And I think this time, this is one of the biggest leaps forward. I think also looking ahead to what you have for a meeting structure this time, obviously dictated by 2020, but I think it's actually going to be advantageous. I think you're going to get some really good work out of this because I think a lot of people are going to be looking in. And I think that there'll be more time for the editors to look at it as well. When I had 8 meetings going on, and I was constantly reviewing the output from those meetings, it was difficult keeping up. And there were times when I couldn't get back to the staff person before everybody went home. So I think this unusual structure is actually going to be a benefit.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see how this all turns out. Hopefully, it. Let me ask you, David, is this like a done deal? There's no like additional votes that the code panels can't vote on the style manual, right?
No. The coordinating committee has approved it, and from there it goes to the standards council, which will be in December.
Awesome. Well, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the definitions definitely are the biggest change for sure. But there's a lot of small changes that have made some great improvements.
Beautiful.
Oh, if I could comment on one other thing too,
Yeah.
that really got out of hand was after one of the previous editions of the style manual, when we deleted the use of the word section in front of section numbers, which probably saved 30 pages of text because it was used so often. Some people started submitting a whole bunch of stuff to throw words in front of those numbers, the provisions of. And as you recall, for the 2020 cycle, we spent a lot of time taking that out. The word provisions is overused in the NEC. It means spare conduits or regular conduits. It means holes. It means lunch. It means requirements. It means all kinds of stuff. And the words add absolutely nothing to the code. So hopefully that won't rear its ugly head again. And one of the changes that I think is also in there is if the number appears at the beginning of a sentence, call it what it is, section.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't prohibit the use of the word section, but only at the beginning of a sentence.
Right.
Yep.
Awesome.
And there's still a lot of provisions out there that we got to get rid of.
Yeah, and it's all about getting rid of awkward text. The last couple of editions of the NEC handbook, the editors got together. We had regular meetings of reading what it said in the commentary and saying, all right, what does that say? And is, okay, what does that commentary say? What does the code say? Is the code clearer than the commentary? Yeah, we found a couple of places where it was. That's embarrassing. But we went in and tried to make the writing a whole lot more direct.
Yeah.
And that is that is what people are looking for.
You're right. Absolutely. You know, David Hittinger pointed out on YouTube, he said, when a technical committee is considering a defined term that is difficult to write because the term, as it's being defined, has a requirement in it, because we know that you can't have requirements in the definitions. And that's, I think, a part of the challenge is to sometimes these definitions will end up having requirements inside. And sometimes the committee just says, maybe we actually need a requirement instead of a definition.
Yeah,
Or
that's very true.
Notes. Yeah.
One of the things I considered doing was submitting public inputs to change those definitions of class 1, class 2, class 3 hazardous locations into Article 100 type definitions. I looked them over, threw up my hands and said, nah, I'm too old for this.
Yep.
There's a lot of work involved for sure. And it will be for
Well,
the
there
code
is.
cycle.
Yeah, and there are a few places where you do find that there is an explicit or an implicit definition. Explicit or implicit requirement in a definition.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be an interesting cycle because there's so many things that have changed. I mean, between all of the different task group work and then the style manual change, the code making panels are going to have their hands full with all of the different things that they're going to be coming across the desk.
For sure.
Yeah.
It was great hearing your voice, Mark.
Hey, I appreciate the invitation to be here. In fact, I had just come up here and turned on the computer, and here it was. And I thought, I didn't know about this, but
Awesome.
glad I found you all.
Know about it.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you. We appreciate you jumping on, and I mean that just shows you the dedication of, you've got radar, you've got code radar that you'll never get rid of.
Well, Mark, let me tell you one other thing.
Yeah.
If you go to the Western Section YouTube, search for YouTube, Western Section II, the YouTube channel has Jeff Sargent was in R&R Ranch on Tuesday night, and you can hear from Jeff, as well as Larry Ayr and Donnie Cook from Monday night. Those are for people to review. So,
wow, I'll go looking for that.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think all the sections that we've had for the Western Section available, Tom?
The R&R Ranch are all available online. Also, the vendor programs are available online, but the actual technical programs were paid for, so those are hidden links that you'd have to. But I don't have a problem. I don't think the Western Section would have a problem sending them to Mark early.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah, and Derek Vixtel had some input too out there on Facebook talking about the code making panels are the hardest working group of folks in the standards development circles, and I think he's got an action that is absolutely correct. Yeah.
Oh, that's true. And in my I think it's the next issue of Electrical Contractor that comes out, in my column, I talked about the fact that when I first started, we communicated with the panels every third year, and we communicated with them essentially twice for those 2 meetings, and that was it. And now becoming a code making panel member is pretty close to being a full-time job. It got to the point where we were communicating all the time, and the result, as far as I can see, is better code.
I hear you there. That's for sure. It's like
Mark.
Yes.
I got it. It's Steve. I got to tell you that we miss you. and Sue says hi. We got this bottle of wine for you, still sitting here for next time we see you. And I'm
That sounds
trying to
great.
get a good picture of you to keep throwing up here, but keeps moving around on me. So we see you standing there with your Boston hat right now, if you're looking on it. But there's such a delay from when I show my picture from what it is. I'm trying, buddy. I'm trying to have a good picture of you while you're
Oh, thank
there.
you.
You are with your Boston, but
But he, you know,
Brewers, the Brewers. The B stands for Brewers, right? Is that it?
but he is a Steelers fan.
Or wannabe, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I think I know that joke already now.
I love it. Awesome. All right. Anything else, Mark?
That's all I have right now. Again, it's great to see everybody, and thanks for letting me jump in.
Appreciate you taking the time, buddy.
Great to hear from you.
Yes, it was.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Take care, Mark.
You too.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Continuing along, we were talking with terms that have multiple definitions, and there's quite a few of them out there, as I mentioned, the one for disconnecting means, but there are a number of others. And some are among the same code panel that because they define something in one article, they defined it again in another article under their same purview, which may just involve maybe changing the term a little bit to make just one definition. So should be good. Similar or synonyms, similar terms and alternate terms. It says, and we do this a number of times in the NEC. It says where the defined term has synonyms, similar terms, or alternative terms associated with the main term that all are to be understood as having the same definition, the base term being defined shall be followed by the alternative term in parentheses, as you see what we do with attachment plug cap, or plug. So. Definitions and informative annexes are permitted, but they should only be used in the context of the annex itself. And I think the only annex I believe that had any definition was Annex H for enforcement. And I think they may have I think they have a definition of authority of a jurisdiction, which I believe is the same definition, but annexes are separate from the code. So they would have their own definition if that was the case. Parallel numbering structure. The 2002 code did a great job with the Chapter 3 articles in creating the various code articles and have parallel numbering sequences throughout the code section, such as the dot one would be the scope. Again, the code, the style manual has made that clear that the scope will be the first section and after part one. The listing definitions, the listing requirements in the dot 6 section, uses permitted, not permitted in 10 and 12. So it would be nice if we had more of those parallel numbering schemes, because we use listing requirements in other articles, but we're not using the dot 6 that maybe we should. And we didn't mandate that in the style manual, but maybe something to consider. Non-consecutive numbering. Articles and sections in the documents. And this has changed the documents. I think it was because it was the code. And since it pertains to both the NEC as well as 70E, there's a few minor changes. And the place where it says technical committees that are in red, I think it said code making panels before. And again, they don't have code making panels on 70E. So just a couple small tweaks there to adjust it. But this section really hasn't really changed. That, however, gaps and unused numbers are sometimes left for future editions. I know the other NFPA documents, I think when they make changes to, they just put the change where they want to, and then all those section numbers change after that. So the number of a section one cycle is probably not going to be the same number next cycle. So I do love the way the NEC style manual works compared to the NFPA style manual. Assigning numbers to new articles is the responsibility of the correlating committee, but assigning numbers of new sections is actually the responsibility of the technical committees or the code-making panels, under the advice of the NFPA staff editor as well. So the staff editor may suggest a different location than what the code panels came up with. And quite often we have gaps to allow for future expansion of some of the code sections as well. Parts, if an article is subdivided into parts, it's recommended that the section numbering within each part start with the next decade. And the example below, you see we got general is from 422.1 to 6. And going to the next part, we go to dot 10. And same with part 3, we skip to the next decade. And again, that just allows for future growth. Excuse me. Newer significantly reorganized articles shall follow this numbering convention, which means you don't have to do it or rearrange your articles in this cycle, but any new articles should follow that. Or if you have a major renumbering of your code article, then you should follow that guideline. Where the article has multiple parts, part 1 shall be titled general. And I think we'll see that in another location. We saw that in 2.1.4 that part 1 would be general. So numbering in notes previously was only required to number the notes if there was 2 or more underneath a paragraph. Well, if you go to this 430.31 in the code book, or the 2020 code, I should say, you would see 430.31, the section, you would see 2 informational notes that were numbered 1 and 2. Then you see another section, and then another informational note that's not numbered, then the part 3 issue, and then another informational note that also is not numbered. So now we're requiring all the informational notes to be numbered, okay? Whether they're sequential or not, which it will make it easier because before, I don't know how you would identify which informational note you were dealing with the way it was presently worded in 430.31.
So let me ask you, if I have a section that only has one informational note, do I have to say informational note number 1?
No.
Okay, perfect.
It says, look at the first few words if there are 2 or.
Yep, perfect.
We had you covered.
I was listening and not reading.
Well, that's all right. I probably should have spelled it out more clearly, shouldn't I? This is the last section we have in chapter 2, and this is regarding placements and orders. Exceptions shall immediately follow the main rule to which they apply. Yeah, and we do this quite often. I don't think there's too many issues of this anymore. I think there was in the past, but now most of the times you have a definition, you'll put this exception applies to part 2 of the section or whatever the case may be, or the exception is directly after that. Exceptions containing the mandatory term shall or shall not are to be listed first in the sequence. Then if you have permissible exceptions, they would be listed after that, based on the order of importance. So, one of the biggest issues we have with exceptions is they're not always worded in a complete sentence. And I think we'll touch on that a little bit later. Chapter 3, mandatory rules. We use the words shall not, and shall not be indicate mandatory terms or rules. Terms such as is to be, shall not, or shall be not, which that sounds strange, and must, whose meanings are less clear, shall not be used. The terms may or can shall not be used in mandatory rules. Permissive rules in 3.1.2 shall be permitted and it shall be permissible, indicate allowable, optional, or alternative methods. The term may shall only be used where it's recognizes a discretionary judgment on part of the AHJ or in an informational note. So, and we do have a list of terms that are considered vague and unused, vague terms that you can't use in the NEC. And there's a table for that we'll get to shortly. Informational notes containing explanatory information and shall be located directly after the rule that they apply to. And here's a change that informational notes shall only be used where necessary to support or improve usability of the associated requirement. We have a lot of informational notes, and we talked earlier about how many definitions we've got. When we went through all these various issues that we're finding, we went through the code pretty well. Jeff Sargent went through the definitions. I went through the informational. There's 1,529 informational notes. And there was suggestions about requiring all the definitions to be removed every code cycle, unless the code panel put them back in. We decided not to go that route, but I would just take a look at the informational notes that you have, and if you think that they're necessary, keep them. But if you can remove them, we would appreciate that. I think 1,500 informational notes is pretty excessive. Informational notes shall not be written in mandatory language and shall not contain requirements, make interpretations, or recommendations. If you look at some of these informational notes out there, some of the wording that's in that informational note could be conceived as a recommendation or an interpretation. So take a look at that. Maybe you need to revise the code section to make sure that it explains what you're really looking for. So instead of having an informational note. If an informational note is needed to explain the text of the document, consideration should be given to rewriting the text of the document to make the rule clear. And that's kind of what we referenced. And again, here's one of the correlating committee notes that goes to a number of panels, using the use of the word may to remove the permissive language. So we do see that in a number of informational notes. After seeing all these informational notes, we definitely realized that we needed some structure. And so we added a section here, 3.1.3, that provides some structural requirements for the informational notes. Informational notes that reference a requirement of another standard, shall be structured and referenced with the referenced requirement or standard identified first, followed by the explanatory text. And you see they're using the word see, and I think there's a section that adds that in a little bit. But they're referencing see and saying what you're looking at. In this case, it's the UL standard or Article 100 or another standard that's out there. Again, the title of what that UL standard is, and then it references another UL standard, and it references for the information on flexible cords. So it explains what it's there for. Or see Article 100 for the definition of general use switch. Referring to a full article should not be in an informational note. We'll get to that later. There's another section that comes up with that. Exceptions, as I mentioned earlier, exceptions in the NEC rules shall be used sparingly. And I remember years ago when they removed the 23028 from an informational note to the mandatory text about so you can't attach anything to the risers. We've been trying to get rid of the exceptions or rewrite the code so we don't have an exception. In fact, I remember back in the 96 code where we had 230.2 and they said we're going to have one service to a building, and all of a sudden we had 7 different exceptions to that rule. Well, they reworded the text to make it more positive language and eliminated the exceptions. It is the responsibility of the technical committees to determine whether the principle can be expressed more effectively as a separate positive code rule or as an exception to the rule. And I do agree that sometimes exceptions make it easier to understand as opposed to having it worded just in more positive language. So kind of on the fence on that one. This is one that we've made it clear that exceptions shall be written in complete sentences. And that's probably one of the larger violations of the style manual that's out there. This really wasn't a change in this cycle of the standard style manual, but it definitely needs to be looked at better. As you can see, here's the exception says cases of electrostatic ground detectors where the internal ground segments of the instrument are connected to the instrument case and grounded, and the ground detector is isolated by elevation. Not very good as a complete sentence by any means. Here's some very clear, concise, complete sentences for these exceptions. So it is, you are able to accomplish that for sure. 3.1.4.2 for excessive numbers of exceptions. As we mentioned, that there are an excessive, that when there's a lot of exceptions to a specific code rule, that you should consider revising the rule to make it clearer, so you don't have to have so many exceptions to the rule. Unenforceable terms. This is the section that also includes a table of all these unenforceable and vague terms that we have in the NEC. Just like before, it used to have a receptacle adjacent to the basin in the bathroom, and then they changed it to you had to have it within 3 feet. Sure makes the enforcement and the application of the code a lot easier if it's clear and concise. There's a lot of vague and unenforceable terms out there. Legible. I guess when somebody says, is your handwriting legible? I guess it depends on who's looking at it at that point. So kind of a judgment call at that point. And this is the section dealing with acronyms. And I think it's a great change in this cycle, especially with all the definitions moving to Article 100. Says all acronyms and abbreviations that are in common use shall be spelled out with the abbreviation following the in parentheses for the first use of the term in the body of each article. Each subsequent use of the term in the article shall be permitted to be the acronym or abbreviation only. Again, permitted, not a requirement. And here's the section that was added regarding the Article 100 definitions. The use of only the acronym or abbreviation for terms defined in Article 100 shall be permitted in subsequent uses throughout the document. Here's an example of a definition of GFCI. Adding the acronym after the ground fault circuit interrupter, it would allow it to be used, such as 210.8 GFCI protection instead of ground fault circuit interrupter protection in those instances.
Hey, David.
It'd save a few pages, right?
Yeah, I got a question that came in. David Hittinger was asking. He says it's odd that we're using the new style manual before Standards Council adopts it. When does Standards Council review this document and adopt it? Will it be before first draft meetings, or?
I think there is one code panel, or actually 2 code panels that are meeting prior to the official adoption of the style manual.
Okay.
Which is, I believe it's panel 8 and panel 18.
Gotcha. Yep, that's that first. That's the first.
Yeah, there's only
week.
2 meeting that first week. Again, everybody's able to watch these code panel hearings, which, I mean, in a lot of cases, not everybody's had the opportunity to see a code making panel meeting occur. So this would be nice for them. Any other questions offhand?
No, I think Borgie is just saying he likes the part that if the definitions apply to a single article, that article is part of the definition. So thanks for making that change, he says.
And again, I think the code panels need to look at that, because that term may only apply to, let's say, Article 427, but if that term is not used anywhere else in the code, you don't need to really put the 427 there.
Yeah, that's right.
You know?
Yep. And Greg.
And I talked to Rich Hullab from panel 14, and he was saying, sure, we have a lot of definitions, but those terms quite often aren't found anywhere else, so we won't need to put those articles in there at that point.
Right. Greg Chantal says for service disconnecting means nearest the point of entrance is vague, and we just had that discussion today, and it was going on in the chat box during our program today with Bill Brooks.
I was surprised how some were thinking it's quite a ways away, as opposed to nearest the point of entry. That's what it says. And I remember years ago, and I think it was in 1990, our party rules in Michigan, or administrative rules, changed it to 6 foot. And that was mostly to account for some of these older style basements. And as soon as we did that one cycle, people were saying, well, if I use rigid metal conduit, can I go up to 10 feet? So we got rid of the rule right after that. So.
Gotta love it. All right.
Okay, that gets us out of chapter 3. So there's really not that many more slides. I've got a few. So Steve, got anything going on?
Unmute myself here. So I got some pictures on there. Now I have to apologize. I mean, Tom is doing a really good job of this, obviously, but what I see on my picture is not what you see until it's like 10 seconds later. And the picture that I see has all of these people in it. So then when it gets out to you, Tom's got it narrowed down, and then I'm like, oh wait, and then I gotta
Don't
move
move
the
it.
thing.
Nope, don't move it. I
Don't
just
move it.
changed
You're gonna do it.
I just fixed it for you. So you got the entire picture on there.
So that I try to move it around so that you can be like when I was showing the Mark Early pictures. So there we got the whole gang. We got Ed Lowry.
There's Dale.
There's Dale Bowie, Joe Hurdle, you know, everybody's wives, and then in right here we've got here's the Ron Palm. So here's one Ron, here's the other Ron. So those are the two originals of the R&R. Those are the head guys there.
Awesome.
Now, Ron Palm was a contractor, correct?
Yeah.
Now I also have David. Derek Vickstol sent me a picture, and you'll notice this. You'll look at the background when I bring this up. You'll notice that your picture's in the background, and take a look at now you have to watch on YouTube, David, so you're not going to see this.
I don't have YouTube.
Oh, you don't have YouTube? Well, he's got a picture of a two-hearted
I do
L.
have YouTube. I'm sorry. I do have YouTube.
Yeah, he's got a picture of a two-hearted L, Bell's two-hearted L, and his laptop, which looks like, I don't know, Derek Vickstol. I don't know what kind of stuff you have on top of that, top of your laptop, but it looks like it.
Well, see here, I got the two-hearted and the light-hearted.
Oh, wait, hold on. I gotta wait a second. Don't move from that. There you go. There it is. Look at that, huh?
Yeah, I mean.
You can't beat that.
And the lighthearted are good. And these are both Michigan beers.
Is that right?
Yeah, Comstock, Michigan, Bell's Brewery.
Is that straight out of Flint River? Oh, I couldn't pass that one up.
I know that.
I couldn't pass that one up. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So it's what's really cool is we've got, you never know who's going to show up. So we had Mark Early show up to the R&R Ranch. We're showing some good photos. Look at this. I mean, you can't beat this. Good beer.
And you did notice that I had to come to the R&R Ranch with my popcorn, right?
Oh, wait.
You gotta have popcorn.
I mean, that's if you ask what's the most memorable part of the R&R Ranch, it would probably be popcorn, beer, and networking.
That's right.
Here, let's get it's good to get a picture of this.
Didn't say beer, beverages, because not everybody drinks beer, right?
That's right, beverages.
So here's a picture of our lineup. I think that's me with my bald head facing the other way, but what about this guy over here?
Oh, Opie.
Opie.
Wow, Opie, man, I tell you, he's the one who introduced me to apple pie.
Yeah. Allegedly,
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure how many people out there know what apple pie is. Felix Sandoval, do you know what apple pie is? I mean, Felix may or may not know what apple pie is.
That is true.
Yeah.
There's cherry pie, apple pie.
Wait, I don't know.
I must admit, I don't.
Oh, apple pie is you take a little bit of apple cider and you mix that in with a little bit of corn in a jar, as we call it in West Virginia. A little bit of moonshine.
Like moonshine?
Yep. I remember I went to the R&R Ranch and Opie goes, hey, he says, you want to try this? Well, it's really good, right? So I'm sitting there and I'm drinking, and he says it's apple pie, and I'm drinking this stuff. I'm like, man, this is really good. And I'll tell you what, it doesn't hit you until you try to stand up. Oh man.
Well, that's the point. You don't try to stand up. Just sit there and enjoy it.
Well, I had to sit down a little bit longer and not have any more apple pie that Opie was trying to feed me. So let's see what you got to show here. Who's this?
There's some of our Western section people.
Look at those cowboy hats, man. You know, that's some cowboys there. Man.
You got to take your hat off when you come to the hospitality room, though, because there's not enough room. You bump into people.
Yeah.
See, on my picture, it looks way better than. Oh, there we go. Now that's better.
Oh yeah, no, it looks good. It looks good.
Yeah. Little blurry there.
Yeah.
But you had a good suggestion, scanning all these and having these all scanned for another time. I think that's what we're do.
Put it in a slide.
Oh, there's Don Offerdahl.
Yeah.
There's our buddy Donnie Offerdahl. Yeah, God, I miss that guy.
Yeah.
I remember he called me about a vacuum sweeper that was tripping an AFCI. And we bought the vacuum sweeper here in our facility, and I'll tell you what, we could not get it to trip. So I called Don Offerdahl and I said, Don, we bought the vacuum sweeper. We bought 2 versions of it from 2 different stores, and we couldn't get it to trip. And Don goes, I'm going to send you this vacuum. And he gave the homeowner his vacuum. Sent me the homeowner's vacuum, and we put it down in the lab, and don't you know, it tripped. So my engineers were like, okay, we're going to fix this, right? And they took the vacuum apart and found arcing inside the vacuum sweeper. We fixed it, sent it back to him. But, you know, Don, and that just tells you the kind of an electrical inspector Don was, that he would go to those extents to help that homeowner out and get them what they needed. So gave them his vacuum sweeper. I loved it.
And those are the issues that people hear saying that our faults don't work.
Yeah, that's right.
Doing the job.
That's right. And you know, it's easy to blame the messenger. That's what we do, right? So and then you know, that story right there is Paul Harvey's The Rest of the Story, because I'm sure somewhere there's somebody out there in North Dakota was saying that AFCI tripped that breaker, that vacuum sweeper tripped it, and they just didn't know the rest of the story. Is that Joe Hurdle?
That one picture that Tim McClintock and I will remember for a long time, the year that Ron Janikowski is sitting in the bathroom frying the walleye.
Yeah. Yep.
Here's the eating room. Look at those nice little hard hat things or whatever those are. And busman cozies. Koozies.
I guess you could be cozy if you had enough.
Yeah.
Oh, look there. There's a ex-president now.
That's right.
Oh, there's the old Pat Clancy.
Tell you what.
Not one to be quiet, that guy. Good guy, though.
These are all good times, you know. And we'll get back to meeting in person. Look at that spread there. Jeez, oh man. I can remember going to the R&R Ranch and talking to everybody like, where are we going to eat tonight? Where are we going to eat tonight? I'm not sure. We go up to the R&R Ranch, and then from there we went back to the room because we were stuffed. You know?
Yep.
Yeah, that's the thing. And enough appetizers makes a whole meal.
Absolutely. Yep. There's Mike Forrester. Wow. Bob Fahey.
Oh, look, there's a Jeff Sargent.
Yeah. Wow. Look at that. Working it. Up there in the hot seat. Jim
And
Carpenter.
Dave Williams.
Dave Williams. That's Dave Williams. Holy cow, Dave, you had hair.
When did I have hair?
It's too blurry. I can't see
Jimmy
it.
Carpenter's in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all good stuff. Look at that. Presentations. What is that, on a slide deck?
Yeah. Yeah. Wait a minute. My slide isn't upside down.
That's right. Oh, man. Yeah, these were great.
Yeah, Jim Pauley and Jim Carpenter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Amazing, isn't it? There was a lot of stuff that went on, and still going on every year.
Were you able to look at that file I sent you or not?
Yeah, I downloaded it here. Hold on, let me.
Did it work?
You know what? I downloaded it, so let me open it up. Hold on, David.
Here's some of the supplies before they're put out.
Hold on.
Here we go.
Is that Keith?
Keith. There's Keith. Yeah. Train the Trainer. Bloomington, Minnesota, 2009.
Yep.
All right, hold on. I think I put it in the day 4 R&R. There it is. Ed,
See? Look at all the sodas we got lined up there. Pick whatever kind of soda you want. See?
It was called Ed's Magic or something like that?
Yes.
All right. Okay, I can. I think
Look at
there's.
that. Don Iverson.
All right, hold on. Here we go. We ready?
Ready? Let's try it.
Okay.
You can hear it.
What did that say? Don't worry. Was it working before? Oh, sorry. Well, you don't think it's funny, huh? You did? No, I'll tell you what we'll do is maybe I can fix that thing. Let's do this. I'll tell you what, I got something right here I usually fix watches with and see if it works. Really make sure it's in there. Is it in there?
Smashed his watch. That's what he did right there. He's gonna fix Ed's retirement watch.
I think we got it, Ed. Now, Ed, can you say big hocus pocus?
Hold on.
Big bones choking.
Shoot.
I say that 6 times in a row, real fast. Go ahead. How about y'all say it one time? Hocus pocus, big bones choking. And believe it or not, Ed, hold your hand out there. Back just like it started. Y'all believe it? Here we go. Look at that.
So he broke his watch?
Well,
Yeah.
hey, have you got another one? I tell you what, I don't want to send you home mad, but I'd like to send you home now. I appreciate it. I tell you what, how about a consolation prize?
Chicken.
Now look, here, I got something right here in this bag. Open that up for you. Show them what you got. Something everybody can use, especially you probably. Show them what you got there. Look at that. A can of peas. Everybody can use groceries. What do you think, Ed? Y'all give Ed a big hand for helping out. Thank you, Ed. I know. Come back over here, Ed. They think maybe y'all can share. Let me see if I got a bowl here. Here we go. Look. Ed, open up that can. And we're going to count the peas. How many people are here tonight? About 300 maybe? Well, we think like 300, something like this. 500, okay. All right, you've got it open now. Pour them peas out. I will count them up.
So this is at the banquet, right?
Yeah, I guess the sound isn't as good as.
No.
It's a magician that takes his watch, smashes it, and then makes him do some magic, obviously.
Yep. It's not coming through that good.
Yeah,
so.
it's go to the end there, you could see. I could tell you what happens.
All right.
It's magic.
It's FM, right?
Yep.
Sweet. All
So
right.
he gets his watch back. It's inside of like a can of pork and beans or some kind of thing that's like already closed up, and takes the can opener and opens it up, and there's his watch.
Well, that's pretty
So
cool.
yeah, so I guess it lost a little bit in the
Yeah.
translation there, moving back and forth around the country.
Yeah. So that just shows you every year, whenever we do the section meetings, there's always that banquet evening, and then there's the entertainment, and it always works out good. What else,
Yes.
David?
I've got about 10 more slides.
Well, let's do it. You need to share your screen out again.
I can do that again.
Yeah, because you unshared and I took over. Oh, you know what I'll do here? Let me
I
make
don't
you.
think I unshared. I think you just took it over.
No, I didn't touch it. Never touched it. Yeah. So hold on. Let me. Got to figure out how to do this.
Doug Geraldi, we have to make an in memoriam wall here with these things.
I got to get back to where I was. I do that. There we go. So let me move this over. There. All right. You've got the show, baby.
Okay. We got about 10 more slides, I think, or so. Maybe not, a little bit more than that. So we got references and extracts. Again, extracts are information that's taken out of other NFPA documents. Okay. We have two different sections. There's 4.1.1, which deals with the NEC, and then we got 4.1.2, which applies to other documents. And many of the requirements in the code are being referenced in other sections. References to other code requirements shall be avoided. We have 90.3, which tells us how to use the code. And it seemed like we're seeing a number of various code making or code panels that are adding additional requirements into their sections of the code where it's already covered in 90.3. So it's really not necessary. And we've added, I think in yellow here, actually maybe that was just some additional highlights there just to let you know that the use of redundant references shall be avoided. Only include references to other requirements with the document. So you shouldn't be adding additional code sections where it's already covered in 90.3. Like here's you can see at the end of this section, it says shall be installed in accordance with section 336.10, including the restrictions of 336.10.7. So again, you didn't need the rest of it. The 336.10 would be sufficient. Reference structure, if used, references from documents covered by this manual shall include only the section number being referenced. The word section, as Mark alluded to earlier, shall not be used unless the reference is used at the beginning of a sentence. References shall indicate the subject of the rules being referenced. The subject shall follow the number. Okay. Requirements shall be referenced directly by using the phrase in accordance with. The phrase in accordance with the provisions of should not be used. We're referencing a requirement. And there's also, this last sentence was added this cycle. It says explanatory references shall be in informational notes and shall be structured as shown using the word see, followed by the reference and then an explanation of the reference. As we saw earlier in that, when we were talking about informational notes, like in this one, it first says for information on construction. Then they have the document down here and then reference what the document is. So it's made it clear through the examples that there's a specific structure, and we talked about that earlier. And in the 2020 code, in some cases they use the word see before what they're referring to. And in this case, they're using the word refer. It depends on which code making panel it is. We see a lot of variations both directions, which weren't necessary. And this is how it should be set up. C 250.118 for acceptable grounding means.
You know, David,
go ahead.
The Mark Early brought up earlier in a post on Facebook, and I would tend to I'll pose what he said.
Okay.
His comment was that when we reference a document in an informational note,
okay,
most often the code panel doesn't have access to that document at all, and they can't even review it. So is it appropriate to have those references in those informational notes when you haven't even reviewed the content of that document to know whether or not it's really relevant?
And quite often they're referencing the full document where maybe only just a part of it or maybe a chapter of it is all it needs to be referenced.
True. And they can't reference the chapter because they normally don't. You mean a lot of the documents that are referenced, they have to buy. And you know, somebody on the code panel would have to buy it. Nobody has provided that document. So I'm torn on it because I completely understand some of those references are important and critical. But I understand that how do you justify that reference when you haven't even read the document? You don't even know if it's valid.
Right.
So
they should provide that information if it's. And again, another issue that comes up is the addition. You know, if the addition is not, do you need the addition? If it's just referencing the current document, and a lot of times, because of the dates of our additions compared to the additions of the reference document are off. In some cases, we're not adopting or referencing the most current document.
right. Yeah, and the debate is usually, and I've been in the rooms and I've been at the table when this was discussed. They'll say, well, we need to increase that number from 2014 to 2020, and everybody goes, well, should we look at the document because it's specifically referenced and maybe the latest version removed why it was referenced to begin with, but nobody knows.
I believe there's some informational notes in the Chapter 5 articles that are referencing a previous edition of a standard, because that's the one they wanted to reference.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So, and I see
that may be something that needs to be looked at the correlating committee and determine which way that should go.
Yeah.
It's a good point. It needs to be discussed for sure.
Yep. And you know what's really cool about this lineup we got right here? We've got Charlie Trout right in front of us there.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, Charlie Trout. That's pretty cool. Well,
Charlie was a great guy.
Yep. All right. Sorry about that.
That's all right. I only got a few more. References in subdivisions shall not reference a complete article. And this is a big issue unless it's Article 100. I mean, as we saw in this one, well, there was one previous where we said, see Article 100 for the definition of, for that reason. So you can reference Article 100, but in other cases you need to, I guess I went too far, sorry. Man, did I screw it up?
No, you had it there. I think the other side, the next slide had the Article 100. Maybe it's the next one. There it is.
Here it is. Yeah, except for Article 100, references shall not be made to entire articles. You should reference parts within the article or a specific section if you need to. And then there's ways of getting around it, or some people have found ways to get around it, where they would reference parts 1, 2, and 3 of Article, let's say 225. Well, there's only 3 parts to begin with, so you reference the entire article. So you can't do that either. So there's some things that need to be addressed by the various code making panels. And that's one to look at. If you're referencing a full article, again, it's a violation of style manual. Small, quick, and easy change to get resolved. As you see here, they're referencing in accordance with Article 337. So,
and you know, I not to interrupt you again, but
that's right.
On our task group work for the alternative energy or the advanced energy task group with Bill Brooks and crew and Jason and whatnot, we have references, and we found that we're in like Article 702 and in 700 and 71 to these energy storage systems in use, right? Well, they referenced an entire article. And so what we learned was, as we tried to get rid of that conflict, we learned that really, if you're going to reference the whole article, you don't really even need that reference anyway, because of 90.3 tells you You know,
That reapplies.
exactly. So we ended up, our public input was to delete that reference altogether because, and in fact, what we did, we combined 705, 710, and 712. Okay. And so if you looked at the original reference was to Article 712, which now was a part of a new Article 705, which our public input was for 689. So instead of referencing 712, our reference then was part 4 or part 5 of the new 689. So now that reference still made sense, but it was referencing a specific part of an article. So we lucked out on a couple, but there was a few we just deleted the reference altogether. So
Cool. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of changes, and I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of correlating committee notes
oh yeah.
this cycle,
Yep.
unfortunately. So in this case, you see they're referencing a complete article, which that's not permitted to do. So code panels could look at that pretty easily and decide that it needs to be resolved. 4.2 regarding references to other standards. References to other standards cannot be in mandatory code requirements, and they are permitted in informational notes. Okay.
Mhm.
And 4.3 is extractor material. I think we talked about that earlier. Extractor materials provides some advantages. This is material that's taken from another NFPA document. Normally it's verbatim, but it can be massaged to comply with the NEC style manual. I think I'm referring to another section, actually. Sorry. Extracted material does have advantages and disadvantages. Again, it keeps you from having to repeat the article or the requirement all over again, because but some of the disadvantages is those standards may not be in the same sequence as far as addition wise. So there's some ins and outs to the extracted material. And this is the section of references that you can amend a extracted material mostly just to comply with the NEC style manual. Then you still have to have concurrence of the specific panel that has jurisdiction over that specific requirement. And I think that's going to wrap me up. Oh, identification. Excuse me. For extracted material, we'll use the number, the document number, the extracted material, and the title and the addition need to appear in the informational note, such as we show here with the example in 514. 514 does include extracted material from NFPA 30A. So you see the informational note 1 reference that there is extracted material within this article, and it tells you where it's coming from. So that is also a requirement.
Awesome.
I think we covered our time.
That was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. Couldn't have asked for better. And you know what Larry Ayre told me? He said, do not let David Williams off easy and have him, have an hour of dead air time. I said, there's no way. There's no way. It ain't going to happen. Not on my watch.
I think we didn't have as many questions as I expected that we would. And again, we don't have as many people as I expected we would either. So
yeah, well, we have. I've got Facebook going on. We have.
I think a lot of people found it on Facebook that didn't know about it.
Yeah, and every year, advertising. I put it out there. We keep telling people, but the nice thing is, this is recorded. It is on YouTube, and anybody can watch it at any time after this. So that is a good thing. And I know I'm going to be sharing this with some individuals within my organization and other people that I know. So, and I've put it on LinkedIn, and you guys can do the same thing. Don Gannier, if you have Don is mentioning about if you have to purchase the reference document, how does that work for the regular code user? And he brings up some good points.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If we reference a document, it should be made available.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. But
yeah.
Again, that's asking for a lot.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so we've had Mike Johnston, Mark Early, Derek Vigstol. We even had I haven't been monitoring my YouTube site, so I'm live streaming on my YouTube site. David Hittinger, um, he's been commenting. Ryan Jackson's been commenting. So I got some people on my YouTube site. I got people on the Western Section YouTube site, and we got people on Facebook. So Jeff Grassi is out there. So thanks for everybody. Borgie, I like the part that if the definitions apply, I agree. Single article, you put that reference in there. So we've got some good. We got Code Making Panel 1 representative, Panel 6. We've got a lot of different people out there, which is really good stuff. And look, we got Tom Lichtenstein in the lineup with us right there.
Look at he's got a mustache.
And look at that hair. Yeah, he got a mustache. Jeez.
It's a do going on, that's for sure.
He sure does. Wow. You got to love it. You got to love it. And we got Derek Vigstol, Mike Johnston. David, how is this going to help enforcement folks better understand the NEC?
I think it's going to provide a better, clearer document, provide a better usability, and I think it's going to make it better for everyone, not just enforcement, but for the users and instructors as well that are teaching and be able to teach apprentices. It's going to help them understand. And I know there's a lot of electricians and a lot of inspectors that had no idea that there was a style manual or what it says or why it says it.
Yeah, yes.
And I'm sure there's a lot of code panel members that haven't looked at that like they should have. And maybe with this change being so significant, I think more and more of those people will understand what the style manual is all about.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. Yeah. Yep. That is definitely all part of it. And usability, and if you can increase and improve the usability of the code, you will also help enforcement and when engineers try to design projects and whatnot. So all of that makes a really big difference when with regard to and it all adds to safety, right? So all of that it makes a difference. Absolutely makes a difference.
Yep.
Yep. So, all right. I'm sharing my screen because you can't see my screen, right? We're still sharing yours. There you go.
So this is either a really young Mike Forrester or some kind of imposter. I don't know who.
Hold on.
Somebody wants to say that people go up and get their picture taken in some other people's names.
I don't think that's Mike Forrester. Jeez. Definitely not Mike Forrester. Yeah. All right. Well, we did pretty good tonight. We made it through all the way to the end and to 8 o'clock, 6 to 8. I mean, we can show some more pictures and we can do a lot of stuff like that. But I appreciate everybody dialing in on YouTube. I don't know how many people are on YouTube right now.
I got 19 on one and 27 on the other, so I'm not sure which is which.
This kind of reminds me, we've had 4 great days of education and having this meeting tonight with the R&R. It almost seems like a normal section meeting where you had your banquet that evening, it's your last night. Tomorrow's just a short day.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of being at the Western Section meeting.
Now I want an ice cream drink.
There you go.
An ice cream drink. No.
Yeah, we got a nice yeah. We got I am gonna do this though. I mean, we're looking through these albums and a lot of these people in these albums are no longer with us. And I'm going to have a toast with my 1975 stuff that I got from Ralph Hammer and Joni. A toast to all those that aren't with us.
Salute.
Tom, you deserve an Academy Award for the best produced II section meeting for the 2020 virtual Western section meeting.
Boy, I'll tell you what, it was. I was doing a lot of programs earlier this year because of COVID, and I remember my first one was on this laptop, and I was over there, and and when I look at it now, my wife and I looked at it, and I'm like, man, that was terrible. But I had 700 people. I had 700 people and people asking for more. So, and then I went back to my company because when we were talking about the Western section, so I went to my boss. I said, hey, I need the tools. I mean, we got to take the Western section's got to go on. And if I'm going to do it, I need a better computer. So they went out and bought me a big hunk of burning love computer, man.
That's the water cooled cooler.
It's the water cooled. No, it's beer cooled. It's beer cooled. Yeah, and so I got all that stuff in, and I've been playing, and I'll tell you what, it's complicated. You know, it's like one of these things where later on, if you put all this in front of me, I wouldn't be able to know how to use all this stuff.
You know, if you put some Fireball instead of beer, it may work better.
You know what? You're right. Yeah. Look at that. Jeez, oh man. So what kind of? Don't you always have a bottle of scotch for Mike Forster?
Yeah, but I'm not a scotch guy. Neeser likes scotch. You guys like scotch, but I'm a bourbon guy since I went to Louisville and took the bourbon tour and went around there and made our own bottle of Maker's Mark and whatnot.
Yep.
But I'm more of a whiskey or one of those kind of guys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I feel like I lived a sheltered life because I didn't have an Uncle Bob.
I didn't have an Uncle Bob either. I don't know that Bob's your uncle. I thought that was an English saying.
I don't understand that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Now the other term he used, what was it? The Hawaiian.
Oh yeah, the Hawaiian. It was
Hawaiian hookup or
a Hawaiian
no, it
hookup.
rhymed. It rhymed. It was a
It was something Hawaiian, and I was sitting there. I'm like,
yeah.
I was gonna Google it, but I was too.
No, because he said it rhymes, and it did rhyme. But now I'm trying to remember what it was. And he said people like to use it because it rhymes. But yeah, what was it? Somebody put it on the chat. Put it up on the chat.
Yeah,
the
what
Hawaiian...
was it? That's the quiz for tonight. What was the Bill Brooks's statement? The Hawaiian something. And
what does Bob's your uncle mean?
According to Wikipedia, Bob's your uncle is a phrase commonly used in Ireland, United Kingdom and Commonwealth countries that means, and there it is, or, and there you have it.
There we go. Bob's your uncle.
Bob's your uncle. I thought it was English or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, man.
And remember, this is live TV. So if something messes up or goes wrong, this is actually live. It's like watching Dancing with the Stars or something like that.
Well,
live TV. And again, we can't see half the stuff that Tom's showing us because I think he does that on purpose to move it out of the way, and then you don't know what you're doing, and all of a sudden you look on and you're on. Oops.
Yeah. And you know what? Here's the thing with when you're. Somebody asked me, like my marketing people go, can you record something? And I'm like, I don't have time to record and then edit. I said, I'm just going to go live, and then the recording you could take and do whatever you want with it, because I mean, who has time anymore to record stuff and edit stuff and chop stuff up? So
that would take so much more time.
It does. And you know what? It loses the effect. I mean, it's okay to go, oh, wait a second. No, that's not the way it is, because it's real. And that's how we are. I mean, that's we're human beings, right?
That's what we do.
That's what we do, right?
Oh, and here I was going to show your secret background, and you changed that view. Took my camera off.
My secret background?
Yeah, your secret background like this.
Oh, all that. Oh,
so that's what we see when we're supposed to see stuff. But then he goes and he changes it. So no, it's going to have the picture and a picture and a picture and a picture.
No, wait, hold on. Here it is.
It doesn't echo.
Yeah, that's my. You know what? I was showing that this morning a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean,
but then then us people can see what's going on.
Yeah. But
when you're tricking us, but that's all right. So.
Yeah. Well, as somebody's got to do it, and
it keeps it alive. That's what keeps it interesting. If you watch some of these TV programs, and at the end of the show they show the bloopers. I say just run the show and go with it. If you flub up the line while you're saying it, just keep going.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
You know, everybody's human. You don't have to have it all so polished.
You are absolutely right. Look at that. Let's see. I'm screwing up everything now.
Oh, you're not screwing up.
Look. You guys are gone.
Oh, we are? Oh. Okay. I'm still here. But the little camera still shows we're here. So
Yeah. What the heck happened?
we don't know what you're here, you're gone, but
I don't know what happened. I got the cases in 4. Code panel. Yeah. That's
we'll have to get Christine and we'll go look for ourselves as ghosts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to do that thing that you're talking about there, Tom, for that. We were going to go to Savannah for Hilton Head. For those that don't know, the code panel meetings were going to be in Hilton Head in January, and it's always a real trek to make yourself go to Hilton Head in January. Oh, but somebody's got to do it. You got to go there, and we were going to go with our friends Bill and Tammy Pancake from down there in Florida, and shout out to some of those Southern guys today I see online here. My code panel compadre Larry Wildreth is on here, and for his code panel, he gets to stay home. He doesn't even get to go anywhere. So,
Yeah.
We were going to go to Savannah on our way, and
Savannah, you gotta go. We usually, because I stayed both weeks on the weekend, I grab. We usually take Jim Dollard, myself, and a few others. We get in a car, we drive over to Savannah. But you could do you can do ghost tours over there. There's a lot of good food, and Savannah's just a beautiful town. It's just a beautiful town.
Yeah.
So and I always tell people, if there's any, I know it's hard with vacations and stuff like that, but to get to a code panel meeting, and that's why I think this year's virtual, there's a blessing in this, because there's going to be so many, there's such an opportunity to see and hear the arguments and debates that you would not get to see unless you flew to Savannah.
There'll be a lot more participation.
From
people listening. Yeah.
It would be cool to see NFPA, even in our in-person meetings, to be able to air a code panel, just to let people watch in and see how this stuff goes down.
Yeah. Well, that might be a future thing now anyway. Just broadcast live on YouTube and just let people watch. They can't participate, but they can listen and see how the process works.
Yeah, I agree 100%. That would be sweet. Well, David, Steve,
Tom,
this is
night,
like
John Boy.
And I, John Boy.
Hey, Uncle Bob, I say good night.
Good night, Uncle Bob.
I gotta give Bill Brooks a little ribbing on that one. Hawaiian tie-in. There it is.
Yeah, see, I knew it rhymed. Yeah, I couldn't. What were we talking about the other day? You can't remember everything. It's like the computer hard drive's full. It takes a minute to get it there.
Yeah. So Derek just sent me a text. He says, that's against the rules, don't you? I don't know what that means. I guess he's talking about putting a video inside of a code panel meeting. Yeah. But you know what?
Now they're doing it.
That's what I'm saying, Derek. I mean, you got to do it now. I mean, you're going wireless, buddy. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Do I have to call Derek Vixtel? Hold on. He's probably going to be like, I ain't answering it.
Derek Vixtel?
Derek.
What?
Hold on.
Whoop, too loud.
Yeah, turn that down a little bit.
Sorry about that. So Derek, what's against the law?
Oh, come on. You know that we can't record NEC or any NFPA committee meetings.
Well, we're going
against the rules.
Live.
Yeah, we're going to be live in December, starting December on a code panel meetings.
I thought it's starting in November.
November. You're right.
Oh, although you know what, I have to tell you, this is the first time I've seen anything about the style manual changing. So when Dave sent me an email earlier today, I was like, "Oh, the style manual's changing? Get out!"
You got to be kidding me.
No, well, I'm so busy working on 70E training right now. I haven't been able to pay attention to what's going on with the NEC development, other than I know the closing date happened, at the beginning of September. But it's been all of a sudden, Dave. Thank you, Dave, for sending me an email saying, "Hey, you know what? Here's an excuse to have a cold one. Why don't you show up and watch me on the R&R Ranch?" Of course, all you guys know I'm from Minnesota, so Western Section is a little bit of holds a little soft spot in my heart for it, right?
Yep.
Yep. Now you've been to the R&R, haven't you, Garrett?
Yeah, absolutely. And so when Dave said, "Hey, you got to make sure you tune into the virtual event," I was like, "Hey, even though I'm sitting at my table working on 70E training right now, absolutely, I'll go." I specifically ran out to the store. I was able to find Dave's Michigan beer and the Two-Hearted Ale. I also got my favorite beer right now happens to be from a Massachusetts brewery called Jack's Abbey, and it's Hoponius Union. So maybe I'll show up for the Eastern section and show a picture of that. So I went out and got the Two-Hearted Ale just so I could come share a beer with my buddy Dave and Steve and of course Tom. I mean, everybody loves Tom.
Tom's my uncle.
So what did you think of the style manual changes?
What's that?
What did you think of the style manual changes?
So I kind of came in a little late, but this is all stuff that, I mean, it being a protege of Mark Early, I mean, I think we can all give Mark Early a standing ovation. Yes. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. But being the fact that I got to work with Mark Early and these are all stuff that Mark's been talking about since I came to NFPA. So I think it's a lot of good stuff. And I think, just like Dave said, I mean, I asked the question about how Dave thought that this was going to add clarity or help the enforcement community. I agree 100%. This is all going to make the NEC a better document. It's going to make it more clear. It's going to help everybody, whether you're a contractor, whether you're an inspector, whether you're an engineer. It's going to help make things a little just a little bit more easy to understand. And that's, I think, for you guys on the code making panel side, that's going to help you guys make a better book, right?
Yeah, I agree.
You have somebody to say, well, where do I find the definition of a specific term? Well, it depends.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, from,
100 could be in parts 1, 2, or 3, or it could be in the .2 section of one other article. We don't know.
Right. Well, and that's a good point, Dave. I mean, from my background being an instructor in the Minneapolis area, we put our apprentices through a pretty rigorous definitions test every year. They had to they got a test from memory, no open book or anything, of 100 definitions. Now they all came out of Article 100, but there was stuff that there's other important definitions scattered throughout the code book. I would imagine if there's any apprentices from the Minneapolis area that are watching this right now, they're going, "Oh my Lord, they just moved every definition into Article 100." Mr. Atkins at the JATC for 292 in Minneapolis is going to have a field day now. That definitions test is going to go from 100 questions to 200 questions.
We only have 300 more definitions.
Yeah. But, I've always said that since I was even an apprentice. And, you can't understand the rest of the code book unless you understand the definitions, right? That's the foundation of the book. We got to understand the terms we're talking about so we can understand how to apply the requirements, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
So, no, I like that change. And I know, I think that was like maybe 5 minutes into the first conversation I ever had with Mark Early, was he said, "I want to move all the definitions to Article 100." Because he's, he thinks ahead like that. That's the kind of guy Mark is.
Yep. Yes, he does.
Yeah,
Well,
he texted me today about getting some pictures for a thing that you guys do on Friday, and I thought, oh, I should invite you guys to watch this. So that's what
yeah.
made me think of it.
Well, and I know Corey sent me. So for those of people in the Western section don't know, Corey Hannas is a friend of Dave's in Michigan. He just recently got a new position at NFPA, as well as the newest electrical content specialist. Doing a lot of the same stuff I do, writing articles, building training, all that fun stuff. Handbook, obviously, when we get to the 2023 handbook, he'll be a part of that. And so Dave sent Corey and I an email. I was like, hey, you guys gotta show up for this. Dave already knew Corey before he came to NFPA, and obviously Dave and I have grown a relationship since I came to NFPA and gotten to know Dave a little bit. So it's like, oh, absolutely, I'm going to tune in. Like I said, I went and got my Michigan beer. I went and got my Massachusetts beer. So I'm swimming in beer apparently. But
Is that Rhode Island beer?
what's that?
Yeah, exactly.
What was the name of that Rhode Island beer?
Oh, so the Rhode Island beer. So for everybody watching the video, I sent them back an email about my favorite IPA right now is coming out of this little brewery that is that's just on the street from my daughter's cheerleading gym, and they just opened up, a little mom and pop shop, and I've always been interested in supporting the mom and pop shops, the little guys, as much as I can, and so when they opened up and they started selling 4-packs, I was like, I got to go in there. So they have a beer. It's an IPA. It's kind of a citrusy IPA, but it's so smooth and tasty. It's still got that bite from the hops, but it's just really good. But it's called "You're Such an Ass."
What happens when you can't spell Mitrovic?
I'm telling you, when you guys go, so next year, I believe the annual meeting for NFPA, where we're going to vote on the 2023 NEC, will be in Boston. Okay, I'm bringing a cooler full of that stuff on ice, cold, and you know what? I know there's about 400 and so members on the code making panels. Not everybody's going to be there, but you know what? I'm going to prepare for it. I'm going to bring it all.
Perfect.
So I'll get them to give me a keg, and I'll bring it there, and we'll sit in the parking lot of the Boston Convention Center, huh? How about that?
Wow,
That's
that's pretty
awesome.
good. So I see Don Ganir has a question. He says, "Is the draft of the new style manual available for viewing on the NFPA site somewhere?"
Not at this time.
This is the only place you're going to hear about the style manual is right here at the Western Section R&R Ranch. Remember,
and
you heard it here first.
Tom, I can
Yeah.
echo that comment because I work for NFPA and I didn't know about this.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know what? There's a lot of stuff they don't tell you, Derek.
Right, like payday's Friday, right? Like, I didn't know I was supposed to get paid.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
much fun,
yeah.
Well, it is. I love this stuff, and it absolutely is. I mean, for all of us that have, we joke around all the time about how we're code nerds or code geeks or whatever you want to call us. But we've committed to our craft, and everybody that is committed to the Western Section and IAI and coming on and is spending the time. I mean, it's well, for me, I'm out on the East Coast right now. It's 8:00. But for the people that are committing their nights to watch this kind of stuff, that they're committed to making our electrical industry a better place.
Yep.
Right. They want to get the information. They want to see what's going on in the industry. And for everybody like you guys, you guys are committed 100%. You're all in. I mean, Mark Early alluded to it earlier when he said that becoming a code making panel member is almost like a full-time job now.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Right.
Yeah.
And
A lot of
so,
task groups. Yeah.
yeah. And you guys are all there. You're doing it. You're all in. Especially for those of you guys that are on the correlating committee, because now you're pulling double duty. right?
Or triple
And
duty.
triple duty, yeah, absolutely. And so you guys are the heart of what makes the electrical industry the best that it can be, right? And that's part of the reason why the NEC is the most successful fire protection document that's ever happened, because
Yep.
of the commitment from our committee members, just like you guys. So from everybody at NFPA, I just want to reach out and say such a heartfelt thank you guys for your commitment and your continued participation in the NFPA process.
Yep, we like you say, we enjoy it. Thank you very much. And there's a lot of people out that were on this call. Like you said, these are dedicated individuals who spend their evenings and time. You got people that even outside of the code making panel that teach and whatnot. It's just great to be around these people. That's for sure.
Right.
So, well,
hey, thanks for calling me. You surprised me. I was figuring, Tom, I would catch a little bit back and forth after you guys got off the call, but then all of a sudden my phone rings and I'm like, oh, Thomas Dimitrovich is calling me. Well, when Thomas Dimitrovich calls you, you answer. You answer. Absolutely. Especially when he's on live TV. And Steve, just so you know, it happens. Live TV, anything can happen, right?
That's right. That's
absolutely. Right. And I just want to say thank you, especially to Steve, because, my roots being in northern Minnesota, it's nice to hear the accent. It really is, because it brings me back to home. It really brings me back to home. So I'm every time I get to be around Steve, I just absolutely love it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
don't you know?
Don't you? You betcha.
Well, that's because we're easier to understand than those people out there in Boston, not sitting on the.
Well, although I have to say, I live on the border of Massachusetts and Rhode Island, so I got a really interesting dynamic in the community I live in, because some want to be Boston, some want to be New York, and then there's Rhode Island, and they don't really know what they want to be. They're stuck in the middle. They're great people, but they're stuck in the middle between New York and Boston. They just they don't know what they want to do. So, but I have to say, moving from Minnesota to the East Coast has been, the people out here are just as warm and welcoming as everybody I knew back in Minnesota. And that's not a dig at Minnesota. That's just a compliment to the East Coast. And absolutely everybody we meet along the way when we do these journeys, when we're dealing with code making and meeting folks in this process, it's just absolutely, we meet friends everywhere, right?
Yeah. You make friends if you, yeah.
Well, absolutely. I mean, yeah. Being from Minnesota, Steve, you're from Wisconsin, Dave, you're from Michigan. We have a hard time not making friends when we go somewhere, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, thanks for giving me a call, Tom. I got to go take care of the kids, get them ready for bed. They got remote school in the morning.
Beautiful.
So thanks for the call, and we'll see you guys next time around, huh?
All right, brother.
See you soon. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Cheers.
Take care.
Cheers.
See you. That was nice.
All right. Well, okay. Anybody else you want to wake up?
Oh, come on.
Yeah. Well, here I found this. I was looking for this thing all day long. Here's Christine and her husband Tim at the Ghost Tour in San Diego.
Yeah, she's right there on the left. It's hard to see. It's really blurry.
Oh, yeah, I see her.
Yeah. All right.
For us all day to tease her about that one picture.
I know. Well, you know what you do is scan it in, and then we'll
see.
We'll email
See, we
it to her.
found the ghost. There they are, right there.
There we go. We got the ghost. Jeez. All right, gentlemen. It is late, and
it's only 7:30 here.
It's 8:30 here. I got to get upstairs.
That's right. Both you guys are on the East Coast.
Yeah, I got work to do before tomorrow morning session. So, no sleep. No sleep.
Yeah.
I got an 8 o'clock conference call.
Oh, beautiful. All right. That means you got to get up early.
Bob's your uncle. See
And
ya.
Bob's your uncle. All right. Thank you. Thanks, David. Great. It was really, I loved the overview, and this is going to be captured forever. So
Good
appreciate
night,
that.
Dave. Night, Tom.
Good night. Yeah. Good night, guys.
Good night, John Boy.
All right, guys.
Fabulous.
We'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Take
Yep.
care. All right, everybody. We are getting out of here now. Thanks for tuning in to the R&R Ranch. Thank you to everybody out there who stuck around. And good night. We will see you tomorrow, 10 o'clock a.m. We've got Tom Lichtenstein, who will be talking about reconditioned and refurbished equipment. So take care. Good night. God bless. And please stay healthy. I'm signing